Welcome to the Blessed Children of God family. We are glad to have you. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you would like to join in on some conversations with thought-provoking topics, feel free to join us on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We look forward to seeing you there. Continue to be blessed. For your likes, for your shares, for your positive and encouraging comments, for subscribing to this channel, and for your monetary donations to this channel. I just want to simply say thank you. I truly appreciate your support. May God continue to bless and keep you all. Hello, happy Thursday, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Okay, thanks, Shay. So again, happy Thursday to everyone in the chat, to everyone in the bushes, and to everyone who may be watching the replay. So let's see who we have in the chat so far. First person I saw was Who Dat. Hey, Who Dat. How are you today? And then my daughter Shanice. Hey, Shanice, how are you today? Then we have Joshua. Hey, Joshua, how are you today? Happy birthday again. I know your birthday was on Monday. Happy birthday again. Hey, Larry King, thank you for joining. Hey, Charlie's Angel, thank you for joining. Abril. Hey, Abril, how are you today? Glad to see you. Love you much. Shadow. Hey, Shadow, how are you today? Thank you for joining. We're going to try to be a little longer today, okay, Shadow? Wanda, Get It Together Wellness. How are you today, Wanda? Thank you for joining. Shay. Hey, Shay, how are you today? Thank you for being here as well. I appreciate you. A brother of a certain age. How are you today, my brother? Thank you for joining. Happy Thursday to you as well. I said what I said. Hey there, sis. How are you today? Happy Thursday to you. Glad to see you. And Too Strong, aka Amanda. Real Talk with Too Strong for Most. How are you today? Thank you for joining as well. I appreciate you all. So, you all see the question, right? The question of the day. Okay, Too Strong. I hope your son, I hope they win. So the question, it's raining here, y'all. So if y'all hear some noise, it's the rain. Yeah, Shanice is not my biological daughter, but she is still my daughter. So let's get that out of the way. I don't have any stretch marks because of her, but she's still my daughter. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. That's good, Abril. Glad you're doing well. I'm good, Shay. I have no complaints. I can't complain at all. Besides, who would want to hear me complaining anyway? Hey, Real. How are you today? Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. So, Brosa, I absolutely struggled either way. Procrastination, big time. To be transparent and honest. Yeah, procrastination is something else. Okay, okay, real. Women got a vent too. Okay, I don't think we're venting today, real. But okay, right, April. Okay, so who else struggles or are still struggling with procrastination? Because we talked about this before. And of course, I'm guilty. So I think because I'm guilty, I think it is something that I can talk about. Anybody else besides Brill and I? Shay says she absolutely does procrastinate. Larry says he does too. I'm sure that can be overwhelming at times, Wanda. A brother of a certain age says yes. Yeah, I will procrastinate on occasion. Does it mean you don't value the thing you procrastinate about? I wouldn't say not necessarily. Yeah, yes. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do so. Thank you. Real says everyone procrastinates in some way, form, or fashion. I said what I said she only procrastinates when it's something she doesn't want to do. Yeah, laziness can set in. That's true. So, like I said, that's something that I deal with. A lot. Shay says, I should be making this dip for my Eagles tonight, but procrastination hitting. Hmm. Yeah, I understand. Hey, Nesto, Shackle, Shuffle, Walk of Shame. How are you today? Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining. So, I think we all have something that we can work on. Stop it, real. There's my peer, y'all. Hello, my peer. How are you today? SBK. I see there's some people who don't necessarily care for the Eagles in the chat. I'll keep my opinions of the Eagle to myself. I'll just say for this NFL season, let's go Washington Commanders. Let me just put that out there. Of course, SBK. Of course, you are on the grind, SBK. Okay. Okay, Shay. I'm gonna do you that favor today. I'm gonna keep it to myself. Um, real. Don't start now. You said the Washington who? I said Commanders. Did I stutter when I said it? Um, I'm okay with the Chiefs, but Buffalo who? Don't agree with him. Shay, do not agree with him. The Jets, who are they? Um, what state are the Jets from? Of course, of course, I said what I said. You said the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders. Guess what kind of fan I am? Tell us. Okay. That's why you said Jets, because you're not into sports. Hey, Gertrude. How are you today? Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining. Shay said, bye, Shadow. Don't, real, tread lightly. Yeah, Wanda, I remember you saying that he tried out for the Commanders. Let them know who that. Let them know. No, I did not mean to say Niners, Abril. You try, Abril, are you trying to educate me? You know I was just kidding, right? Okay, so he tried out for Cleveland first. Okay. I don't know who you saying. Who cares? Touche, but you're funny. Hey, Vaughn. Happy Thursday. How are you today? It's good to see you. He said, Elder has stepped into the building. Okay, y'all, don't be picking on Vaughn today. Vaughn, did you go live last night and delete it? I just want to know. Okay, Vaughn. Were you Vaughn, were you late because you were procrastinating? Is that the reason? Okay. So you went to sleep last night, or this morning, I should say. So let's get back to talking about procrastination, y'all. So I don't have a problem with alcohol or drugs or smoking cigarettes or anything like that. But good for you, Vaughn. Yes, it is. It is coming down. It has stopped for a minute and it's back to doing it again. But yeah, I do have a problem with procrastination. And it's something that I really need to work on. Okay, brother. Shadow said he he used to procrastinate a lot back in his 30s. I'm not going to ask you how old you are, Shadow, but I'm sure you probably not that too far away from your 30s. But anyway, procrastination, for the most part, is avoiding what we should do for no real reason. Yeah, I thought Shadow was in his 30s, Vaughn, but I'm not going to ask him his age because he might give an answer like real, secretive, don't want to tell, anybody. So I'm just going to leave it alone. If he feels free to share, then that's good. So, okay, Wanda. So, like I think Real said, most people, or did he say everybody? Anyway, um, I say a lot of people do struggle with procrastination. I think that when we struggle with procrastination, I think for the most part we really do mean well, but sometimes life just be lifing. So I said what I said. It seems like all the men are secretive about their age for some. Right, right. I said what I said. What's up like that? With that, what's going on? It used to be where women didn't want to tell their age. Then we got the men's with the Z not wanting to tell their age. Oh, he said he's not giving. Bill said he wasn't doesn't want to give anybody the power to dox him. So you think we have doxers on here, Real? Why would anybody want to dox you, Real? Oh, Shadow said he's old enough to be a grumpy science teacher. Whatever that means, Shadow. Oh, shucks, now we got another Libra in the house. Larry says he's about to turn 48 on the 18th of October. Libra, let's go. Your birthday's the day after mine. Mine is October 17th. Say it, say it, say it. I said what I said. Say it, sis. Men's ain't men no more. Hey, Key. Happy Thursday. How are you today? You men's need to start menning. I understand, real for real. You never know. Okay, Shay, be safe. 48 is seasoned, huh, Vaughn? I guess it would be to a 31-year-old. Yep. Yep, I said what I said. Shout out to Larry for being brave enough to say it. I said what I said. Said real. Ain't nobody coming for you, sir. Okay, Key. Drive safely. You get that real? She said, ain't nobody coming for you, sir. So you can just go ahead and tell us how old you are. I think you have a birthday coming soon, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, today is Senna's birthday, y'all, just in case y'all didn't see it. Today is her birthday. So she comes in. We want to make sure we shout her out and say happy birthday to Senna. So let me move on. Like I was saying, most people, we have the best of intentions, but we just procrastinate. I said what I said. It says real is being real incognito. Okay. No, I didn't necessarily. Well, I asked Shadow about his age. But if you want to give your age, feel free. Okay. It's crazy though. Some of y'all on here are young enough, are my children's ages, or even younger, but you don't want to talk about your age. But it's cool. It's cool. That's not what we're here for. Okay. So, procrastination is really a real issue for many of us. Let's face it, oftentimes we take it for granted that time is on our side, but it really isn't. Today's scripture verse comes from Proverbs 27:1, and it's the New Living Translation. um, Let me read the scripture first before I look at your comment. Don't brag about tomorrow, since you don't know what the day will bring. Okay, a brother of a certain age. Yeah, you still young, but you're our peer, but you're still young. Bill says he's ageless. Yeah, happy birthday, Senna. Hopefully she can join. If not, I do have a post on my wall so y'all can wish her happy birthday on there as well. So again, tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. On many occasions, yeah, right. I said what I said. Shout out to brother, the rest of y'all men's who is incognito. Take notes. And I'm sure he's older than them. I said what I said. Isn't that crazy? Well, a shadow did say that he was 40. So it's really just one person for real. Really one person for real that doesn't want to tell their age and wants to be incognito. Lord, Vaughn said she feel like she's older than anyone. She has more children than. Is that right, Vaughn? So you're older than everybody but Wanda, huh? Okay, okay. Oh yeah, too. That's right. Let's not forget about our peer, our hard-working peer, SBK. Let's not forget about him. Okay, Vaughn. So Vaughn says she's older than all of us because she has more kids, even though her kids are most of her kids. Well, I have grandchildren older than her kids. Let's put it like that. But she's older than me. But hey, what? Who am I anyway? Anywho, go back to the scripture. Don't brag about tomorrow, since you don't know what the day will bring. Again, tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So I'm always telling people that in order to fix a problem, you must first acknowledge that you have a problem. And so I acknowledge the fact that I have a problem with procrastination. And it's something that I'm working on and I try to work on daily. But sometimes things happen. Like I'll start improving in this area of my life, and then all of a sudden something happens, and instead of me going forward and getting better the next day, I'll fall back to my old habits. That's me. I don't know if that's your experience, but that's me. So I said what I said. It says, no, Vaughn, you have more experience than us, oh, and skills. So, yeah, that's what happens, y'all. But I'm not here to beat up on myself or anyone else. I also don't want to sweep the problem under the rug, so to speak. I think that we should all give ourselves grace, but continue to be mindful that tomorrow isn't promised. So let's stop putting off for tomorrow the things that we can do today. And let's encourage others to do the same. What's the for real? Let's face it, procrastination is a friend to no one. Just as with other things in life, small steps are still steps. So if you are making progress, just continue to make progress in procrastination or whatever area in life you have issues with. And that's what I have to say about procrastination, y'all. Does anybody else want to say anything about procrastination? I'm going to put the link in the chat. Good for you, Vaughn. Good for you. Remember that little progress is still progress. So I'm going to play something and then I will come back and see if anyone wants to come up and talk about their struggle with procrastination. Not anybody else's struggle, but your struggle. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, looks like we have someone on here. Hey, Real.
How you doing, Alice?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
Vibing and flowing. I'm all right.
Okay. All right. At your age, that's all you can do, right?
Yes. But whatever age y'all think if I told my age, people wouldn't believe me anyway. They wouldn't. So I'll just keep it to myself.
Okay.
They wouldn't believe me. But I bounce around way better than people around certain ages. And I'm probably way better than people that are 10 or 15 or 20 years younger than me.
Okay. All right. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, I gotta make my time here while I still have time.
Uh-huh.
I got to make it work for me until that appointed time is up.
Okay. Good for you.
I hope so. But,
I have an idea, but I'm not one to you know, try to put people out there like that. So
yeah, I mean, take a wild guess.
take a you're not gonna tell me if I'm right anyway.
You- I'll tell you if you're close. I'll just say yes, near there.
Okay.
38.
I was gonna say 38, Vaughn.
Near there. Near there. Near there.
Okay.
Like very, very, very close.
Okay. Very, very, very close.
Yes. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Okay.
But not no younger than no 35.
I said what I said, said 48.
What's wrong with you being my peer? Tell my son I know younger than no 35.
But obviously, I mean, I have some sort of signs of visible aging, so I can't not pass for that, even though my life inside the past has had things that have warranted to me to probably aging me. But other than that, but I know people who are younger than me that look older than me. Like I've seen, like, people who are like 32, 33, and they look like they're 52. Who knows? And I've seen it. you know it just happens, so we can't really judge somebody's like skin suit by their age. Like, oh, this person, they're lying, they're this. How do we know they didn't go through a tough time, or didn't moisturize their skin, or smoke, or drank, or ate a whole bunch of MREs in military? They don't know.
Okay.
Skin suit.
Wait, what's he?
What you say, Vaughn?
He said skin suit. uh,
That's what he said.
he said
Skin
skin
suit.
suit. Look, I'm not offended. He didn't say 31. So,
Uh-huh.
obviously I don't look, 50. He said people that's 32 and 33.
Yeah, y'all saying it, they lived a hard life, or it just happens, or just not drinking enough water, or putting enough essential oils inside their body. It
Yeah.
happens.
And maybe that's from procrastinating, right?
Yeah, yes. Everybody, and I don't care what anybody says, unless you're an ethereal being or an ethereal priest, everybody procrastinates on something. It doesn't matter. And I can easily give, you know, reasons and scenarios, and people are like, oh, yeah, I do procrastinate. People are like, oh, I'm going to stop smoking.
Who's playing
Man,
music?
hold on, let me.
That's real. And some little person on a tablet. That's not me, Miss Alice.
Yes,
Okay. I just, I
got
wanted to
something
make
right.
sure it was because
But
I
yeah,
don't want any issues.
everybody procrastinates in some way or form or fashion. Some people, oh, I'm gonna start eating right, next week, or I'm gonna exercise, when New Year's gets here. I'm gonna stop smoking this day. Okay, I'm not gonna drink anymore, but let me get one more weekend. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna clean this up, but I'm gonna wait till like springtime. Oh, let me wash these clothes. Well, let me wait till some more clothes, are adhered to the pile. Then I'll wash them. It's always something, Or if I'm outside, if some, well, not me, but if people are outside, oh, they'll tell themselves the excuse, I can't eat healthy. This is what's all around. You can go an extra block or two and find something if you want to. It's just we are living in a world where you're going to be forced to procrastinate regardless. Some people might say that's not true. It's all to do with your mindset and you're just a weak individual. No. When you live in America, we are programmed in a way where a lot of these things aren't necessarily natural to us, if that makes any sense. So if we have to do something that's not really part of our nature, we're going to procrastinate about it. Like, I don't think that we're naturally probably supposed to work 40, 50, and 60 hours a week. That's just me. I think we're supposed to probably maybe work like maybe like, 6, 7 hard hours and then leave it at that. That's what the Asian countries do and the European countries do. So because we have so much of our time piled up on certain things that are kind of just distracting, that's what's going to happen.
So, um, that's your opinion, and you're definitely entitled to your opinion. But when I talk about different subjects, I don't. I'm very careful of saying all because I don't know everybody in the world. I don't know everybody in this country. I don't even know everybody in the state that I live in. So I'm very careful of saying, using that word, all or everybody, because I don't know everybody, and I don't know that this is a fact. I would say it's an opinion, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. But let me take a moment because someone very special has entered the chat, and today happens to be her birthday.
Bonds, are you ready?
Oh, no, you're not
I
going
am
to do
so
that.
ready, real.
I am going
Happy
to mute.
birthday
Oh,
to
no, 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 no,
you.
no, 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 no,
Happy
no,
birthday.
no, 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 no. We're not going to do that to my beautiful sinner. We're not going to do that to her today. Okay? So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Senna. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Senna. May God continue to bless your life. May you enjoy many more birthdays on this earth. And may this birthday be the most special birthday you've had so far. We love you. I love you. I love you. I'm trying not to pay attention to the chat. I love you, Senna. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being beautiful, not just on the outside, but on the inside. I truly appreciate you. I appreciate your support to this channel. I appreciate you, period. Continue to be blessed. Now, Wanda says she wants to come up here and sing.
Come on,
Wanda,
Miss
I would
Wanda.
allow you to do that. I would allow you to do that, Wanda. Lord have mercy. But Wanda, don't let make YouTube don't make YouTube
Let me
just
let me
terminate my
sing.
don't let them terminate my channel.
Come on, Miss Wanda.
You
We got
ready, real? You ready, Vi?
yes,
We
we got
got
Oh,
Aretha,
this.
Aretha
Let's go.
Franklin. We
Now,
got Minnie Riperton inside the house. Yeah,
yes.
That's right. Let's go.
All right,
I'm
now we
sure.
gotta harmonize.
Okay. I got this.
Ready?
Y'all ready? All right.
Ready? And
Happy birthday to. Wait, wait. Miss Allen.
You the jump
Miss
like
Allen. Miss Allen. What you doing, Miss Allen? We was snapping.
Miss Alice, you put us on side. You muted us.
I
Miss
did.
Alice, you wrong. We was finna snap. Come on, y'all. Hurry up before
Come
she
on,
do it
Miss
again.
Alice, don't do
Happy
that.
birthday
Still
Day
gonna mute it?
to
to
you.
Sinner. Happy birthday
Day to
to
you. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday, dear Sinner.
Happy
Happy
birthday
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 to
to
you.
you.
Yay! Happy birthday.
Santa, I apologize.
Miss Alice, why you kept muting me? I was,
Me
I was,
too.
I was
I
killing it.
apologize, Santa.
Now we got to be black.
Wow.
Happy
Oh,
birthday to
okay,
To
you.
ready?
ya. Happy
Happy birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
ya.
Happy
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 birthday.
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 Yeah.
Happy birthday
Hey.
to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey, it's your
Birthday.
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 It's your birthday. We're
Birthday.
gonna party like it's
The
your
birthday, I
birthday.
guess.
Hey.
Hey.
Greasy midgets popping out of a birthday cake.
Wait, what?
For-
I'm
Forgive me,
messing.
Greasy
Santa.
midget.
Santa, please forgive me.
Santa, we love
Wait,
you.
real.
And for anyone who had to listen to that, had to torture
They
themselves
enjoyed it.
listening,
Miss Alice, we were killing it.
please
Okay?
forgive me.
Killing it.
Wait, put a one in the chat
Yes.
if you really enjoyed our singing.
I know I was sounding like I was probably polluting the air. So
I feel like we should start a band. We should
Oh,
totally start a band.
yes. Two
No, I
ladies.
think y'all should. I think y'all should be banned, but I don't think y'all should be starting a band.
yo, Alice.
Oh, y'all are funny.
Oh,
We did that.
right, brother.
What did
One
he
of a certain
say?
age.
He said, "Yeah, y'all killed it all right."
Yes, see, he agrees.
No, I don't think he means
I don't
it
think
that
he meant
way.
that in a good way.
Look, Senna talking about let's get back to the conversation. Senna, you didn't like our birthday song?
I don't think you liked it.
I don't think
Uh-oh.
y'all. Sin is such a beautiful person. I don't appreciate y'all doing it to her.
It's the thought
Why
that
would
counts because
y'all?
most
Right.
people wouldn't do it anyway. Like they're probably
Had
just
you
gonna
been
have
thinking, you would not have done it.
Because remember, I said last night, the Lord said, make a
Mm,
joyful noise.
mm. Hey, Elsie.
Exactly.
Mhm. You know,
And we were all very joyful.
No,
Yes.
All of us.
I think
Oh
y'all
Lord.
confusing joyful with awful.
Santa probably like y'all just made my cookies crumble.
Hey, Elsie.
Ah.
Santa said she loved it. You
Oh,
know why?
thank you, Senna.
You know why she loved it? Because she needed a laugh, just like I did.
Mm.
Definitely, but
Miss Alice was
definitely.
really Miss
Wanda,
Alice was really muting us, y'all. She was really
Wanda,
muting us.
Right.
Wanda said, ah,
Oh yeah, the lemon poppy.
right,
I just had that today. Oh, go
right.
ahead.
I said what I said. She said she had to roll it back, Santa. She said she is sorry you had to endure that. I can't apologize enough to Santa. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to send her something extra for her to endure something like that.
Y'all being mean.
What? We're being mean?
My feelings is hurt, Miss Alice.
Right.
Oh, Wanda said we're what? Your feelings are hurt? How do
Y'all
you
didn't
think
like it. Y'all
how
did
you
not
think
like
we
it
feel?
whatsoever. Y'all did
How
not
you
like
think
it.
we feel? Your feelings hurt. See? You thinking about yourself. If you've been thinking about others, you wouldn't have hurt our feelings.
I'm just saying, I was thinking about going to Sunday's best, right, Miss Wanda? And,
Yes.
I had so much hope, and I just knew my YouTube family would support me. I can't believe it.
Mm-mm,
Thank you.
mm-mm,
They've been very supportive up until this point.
mm-mm. Because I love you, I'm not gonna let you do that.
Mm. You gotta tell it like it is.
So you're acting like the praise team at church.
Ooh. Mm-mm.
Go ahead and tell
That
your
is
story, Wanda. Go ahead and tell it. Because everybody didn't hear you yesterday. Go ahead and tell it.
Well, I tried out for the praise team at church, and they said no.
Miss Wanda, they just didn't want
But
you to
look,
outshine them. You know, it's haters out here
uh-uh,
these days.
Right. Thank
uh-uh.
you.
Let me
Thank
tell
you.
you
And then
something.
what was very disappointing is my daughter is on the praise team. She was one of the people to tell me yes or no.
Uh-huh.
And she said no.
Wow.
But
They done
look,
infiltrated your home, Miss Wanda.
Right.
Turn your
y'all
own
know
baby
how it
against
is.
you.
Y'all know how it is in church. In church, just about anybody can be on the choir or the praise team. They don't care who joins. If you don't sound good, they'll like make you sing so low that nobody can hear you. But when they tell you no,
They told me no.
when
They said that's
they
not
say
your
no,
ministry.
exactly, it's
Man,
not
praise team
ministry.
is easy. You just take some ribbons and be twirling them around sometimes. Praise, because the praise team is praise dancing, praise worshiping,
Hmm.
all types of stuff. And it's just like, or putting on some white mask with some white gloves and acting out like you a mime. It's just like some people are just jealous inside church and they want to keep it all to
Not
themselves.
jealous,
Yeah. They're trying to keep
They
me
not
can
down.
be.
jealousy.
Because I know I move better than certain people, and I was younger, and I was trying to do certain stuff like everywhere, and certain people like no, and I'm like, how? I was like, ain't no way, and I knew that it was jealousy. It was like, please, like
Exactly, real.
I
A
knew,
lot
of
of
Haters.
times people want
course.
to help you. They want to really help you not um, embarrass yourself, and you think it's jealousy when it's
What?
all coming from a
Nah, I was
place
a
of
professional. I was a
love.
nah, no, no.
Exactly, real.
I
I
was
am
a
a
professional.
professional
I was a professional
vocalist.
backup dancer, so I knew that I could move. And
Exactly.
I had gigs and real works, and I was, out there and
Me
had my
too.
SAG and everything.
I
I was
took
I was
on
out
vocal
here.
training.
commercials, and then people
Exactly, Miss
still.
Wanda. I was
I
selling
Right,
knew.
records. Okay. All right. They
right.
called me Mrs. David Ruffin, and people just hating on me.
I
Hating
believe you. I'll pull it up on
so
my TV
bad.
right now. Shoot.
Yeah, pull it up. I got some videos out here on YouTube. I'm just, man,
Yeah, I'll do.
millions of views.
Let me unprivate my videos,
See,
please.
yeah, I said what I said.
I just try to do it the
That's,
right
that's
way.
what the church is jealous of real. I can't. I cannot.
Yeah, man, y'all know what I'm talking about. Some people will know you. Like you come to a certain church, and some people will be. They just are like you. Do you don't think jealousy exists inside of a church? You must be blind. Like it happen. I'm telling you, it'll happen. Like they'll fight for certain positions. They will. I've seen that. I've seen people fighting in church over singing positions and snatching mics off of people. And no, it's my time, and you
Snatching
going over.
mics.
Yes,
Oh
everybody's
wow.
saying it. Like we
For
have to
real,
be
were they
real.
doing this? Did they do that during service?
Yes, yes.
Now this
But
had to be during rehearsal. What nobody doing this in
no,
the middle of Sunday
no,
service now?
people don't care. Like that's the thing, kind of
People,
what I don't like about YouTube sometimes, because everybody tries to sugarcoat stuff, and I'm like, no, let's just be honest. Like we've
So
seen
But no,
stuff.
no, 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 real, no, no. You can't say that we've. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I have seen and heard of some indecencies in church, but I ain't never seen nobody fighting over no mic.
Yeah,
It ain't never
yeah.
happened.
right.
Okay.
Or
Me
fighting the
either,
pastor to
Mama.
get out the church. They're like, oh, we don't like what you're doing, or you did something with this fund or the money fund, and then it's like, get out and the cops got to be called. Like, it happens. It happens a lot, and that's why all of a sudden you might not see a certain brethren or minister anymore because it could have happened on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night, and you're like, wait, where did they go? Because something happened, and now you see two people just, oh well, I don't know, and let's just pray for them, and they just gone for like 3 or 4 months. That's what be happening because there's a protocol behind it. That's why you don't see those people like for 2 or 3 months straight. Trust me, I know. Like, you know, been through it all and seen it and worked in certain places, and some of it's really real and some of it's all for a 401(c) profit. It is. So I've seen it, seen enough.
Okay, I'm gonna drop down now. But thank you for letting me um, come on panel to sing. I shared my beautiful voice with your chat
And did.
and your panel. And Real and Vaughn will get together behind the scenes. to- no, thank you.
Huh. Okay. Thank you for being brave enough to come up.
Yes, I had to share my voice with you all.
Thank you, Wand. But
See
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Miss Wanda.
you was wondering. But y'all seen it even when people get married. You think people honestly respect churches? No, you seen people. Is there anybody who, can contend or contest against this marriage and then, it'd be some half or a skull a wag? No, I do, blah, blah, blah. And they just come walking inside there.
Well, well, real that okay. I'm once again honesty, right? That happens on TV. I have not seen it. I expected, I because my sister-in-law was there when I got married. I expected my sister-in-law to do that, and she did. Okay, I did. Okay, or one of my crazy relatives. Somebody who just, oh, Kevon, you too young to get married. But it didn't happen because once he and I agreed, it didn't matter what anybody else thought, right? So you telling me you didn't when they say does anyone object? What is it? Yeah, the question they asked about objecting. Yeah, speak now, forever hold your peace. You telling me you witnessed that in real time where
Yes, and
somebody
then
actually object?
yes, and then the brother in the come on, no, 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 we're not gonna do that here. We're not gonna do that here now. And then the women like, oh, but then it's like, what's the purpose of asking that question? And then the elders of the church rushing to be like, no, no, we're not gonna do that here. You're asking a question,
Mm-hmm.
and if somebody answers it in real time because of a disparity that they've seen, okay, outside of this holy matrimony, this person's been doing this person's been doing that. Why
Mm-hmm.
ask the question? It's like a spectacle. Like you ask the question, that's what it's to ask for. That's before you make those
But
vows.
but okay, so
How
I
would
I
that
agree with you. I agree with you, real. But nowadays, if you tell somebody that they shouldn't have a baby or they shouldn't marry someone that they are in love with, you tell them not to be with that person. Folks is cutting folks off. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to just, you know, I guess you could say talk behind people's back than to tell somebody, I don't
that
think
is
you
so
should marry
wrong.
him.
No,
But
but that
no,
is
no, I'm just saying. I'm just
well,
saying.
me, I ain't no snitch,
Or
right?
not say
But
or
if
not
it's
say
my
anything at all.
family member
I'm
or if
not
I
saying
seen
talk
something,
behind
right?
people back. I'm not
If
saying that.
somebody was doing something to me, like I would want somebody to be like, yo, like, okay, this particular female, she's not who she is. She's the heifer of the town. I would want somebody to tell, and people, there's a fine line between, oh, you getting up inside their business versus for wanting
Mhm.
somebody who has a severe, like, who know, like a Jezebel on, who knows? And
Mhm.
it's just like, I think in this day and age,
Uh
people
oh.
have become too accustomed with this whole, oh, you got to watch what you say and do this and do that. Yes, to a certain
Mhm.
extent, but it has gotten to the point where it's gotten out of hand where even if you
Mhm.
say something that can help
Hey.
somebody, it's like to a point now where it's like, oh, you're disrespecting, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Maybe we should kind of get back to maybe the ways of, the 70s or 80s, and that can
Mhm.
help people within reason. Though don't bash them now, because some people will lie and trick you and, oh, this is constructive criticism, and just want to just project and bash you. No, but if
Mhm.
it's something to help one another, I
Mhm.
think that that's maybe something that we could, adhere to, but within reason, respectfully.
Well,
Now,
then
where
that's
that
when
happened?
you.
Hold on, Vaughn. Now, what church did all this happen with?
Well, y'all probably don't be up north, so y'all probably wouldn't see stuff like that. And you, like I told you, you travel. Just don't sit in one
Whoa,
or
whoa,
two towns.
whoa! I live north, honey. Okay, what you
No,
trying to say?
you're the fake kind of north. I'm talking about the real north, like New
I'm
York,
fake north.
Jersey. Well, not fake North,
Well,
but
I've been in church for I went to church for 20 years and I ain't never seen none of that you talking
so
about.
you never seen nothing. You never seen nobody
And
arguing nothing.
I've been to countless weddings. I've been in Sunday school, missionary, prayer meeting, and I ain't
Right.
never seen nobody do none of that you talking about real.
But real, what's fake North? What how I'm fake?
Wait, where aren't you in Chicago or something or Detroit? Like where?
Yes.
Well, North, I consider like Yankee type North, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Philly, like that's North.
Oh, okay.
New
Oh,
Like
okay.
York is east. It's
I
not
was finna
New
I was
York
finna
is
say,
east.
isn't that the East Coast?
Yes, that's the east
I'm
no,
North
coast.
no, no,
real.
no, 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 no. But when the original 13 colonies started, and when most of the country was built from the middle all the way to the right hand side,
Oh,
it
mhm.
was the North. That's where the Civil War comes in, and the North fought against the South. It's the North, the Yankees, the Doodles. If we want to be technical about it, that's what's considered North because that was here before, and it was called York. That's why they call it
But
New York after the
real,
establishment.
all the black people came here, okay, to be free. All right, had their freedom papers. So
There
I
was
count.
already
I
black
matter.
people here. There was already black people here. The Seminoles, even the Native Americans speak about that. The
Mhm.
Blackfoot
Oh,
Well,
tribes that were.
I just want to know what church that you went to that did all of this.
So okay, well, I don't know if y'all
I'm
ever been
I
inside the
haven't.
hood. Nothing like that. Y'all never been inside. It just
Mm-mm.
amazes me
Uh-uh.
so.
Mm-mm.
Not
You
Okay.
where
better
not
lie.
where people actually object to someone getting. Now, have I heard, like I said, people talking behind our back? Yeah. Did I expect? Even matter of fact, I gotta watch a video because I want to say the joke was no, 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 no. Let them get married, or no take backs. I know my family said that, like, no, take her. Okay. But I was expecting my sister-in-law to make a joke like, nah, but I've never seen anybody object to anybody currently, like in the moment, get married or getting married. I mean, I haven't
No,
seen that. I've only seen
And
that
it-
on TV.
and I ain't never seen nobody in the past, current, or the future
look
do
what
that.
Senna said. It's so many videos.
I
Like
haven't either. I've
it's
been on
got
this
so
earth
bad.
over I've been on this earth over 60 years and in church the majority of those years and I have yet to see it.
Like it's so bad, and you can even research this or ask the people. Aren't you? When one of y'all from Texas or something, people
I am
can
from
still.
Texas. That's why
So
I'm asking you.
So what do
Where
people
did
do in
that happen
Texas?
at?
Do they not conceal carry, even going to church? How many people?
That don't mean they stopping weddings.
But what? Why do they do that? Because they know that it's crazy and things happen. Like I've seen, like, well, okay, maybe y'all haven't
No,
seen it, but I
no,
have
they could be like
seen.
me. They could be like me and just forgot that they had their piece in their purse.
Yeah, all right. That thing is like an extension of you. Like it's there. Keep the safety of everything, but it's like this stuff happens, y'all, and we can't be clouded to this stuff. See, what happens is, I guess, if you're inside a certain geographical position, you're not gonna probably encounter these things. But if you're from like places where it's like Florida, New York, freaking Brooklyn, Canarsie, Newark, New Jersey, stuff like that happens. Like the people get rowdy and they're ghetto and they have no shame. They don't care. Like some of these black women inside the church, it's not a race thing, but some of this is looking to cut up. They're looking to cut up, or oh, the pastor, he was trying to talk to me, he's sleeping. They're looking to do that. Like they have no shame.
Well, I'm from Texas. I'm from the South, and Wanda is from New York, and she says she ain't never seen it either. So, you don't call out both our states, and we ain't never
Yeah.
seen that before, for
Now,
real.
Or
now, now, like I said, real, I've heard of indecencies in church, okay, and I've also, even I go to church now. Someone got loud, with someone I care for dearly, but not objections. I haven't seen that, but yeah, of course, people get ghetto in church. I mean, that's normal in my
so
opinion.
can I ask y'all a question, right? When they ask that specific question, does anyone object to their holy matrimony that is about to be sealed with the power that is invested in me, whether it's through God or through the state?
Hmm.
They're asking that question because it's part of the protocol of getting
Hmm.
married, right? Now
But didn't they start that for a reason though? Like, for example, if another man was in love with a woman, or if a man was already married,
it's
or if a
biblical,
woman
and
was
that's what
already
I'm trying
married.
to do to
Oh,
get.
that's in the Bible.
Yeah, like when if your woman was like, I guess not like from the Old Testament, if she was like not found to be a virgin or
Lord.
was like talking to like or she was a HORE, it was your duty as a brethren to let the other brethren, like your brothers of God or brothers in Christ or sisters, to let them know something. Like if y'all are all, godly together. And if you know that this man is marrying this woman from like another land, she came over here, but now her ways are still on her, right? That's why they would ask these things. Like, you're supposed to, be wise counsel to your brethren about this stuff. And if they
But
found
real,
that out,
nobody cares
Well,
about that anymore.
no,
at the end
I'm
of
Nobody.
not.
the
They
day, I don't see nothing about it being in the Bible. Meta say it stems from a medieval Catholic tradition designed to prevent illegal or improper marriages by giving community members a chance to voice any known impediments to the union, such as a
Mm.
previous marriage or incest. But it don't say
See,
nothing about it being in the Bible.
I
yes, it
was
was.
gonna say I didn't. I will say
So
I
you're supposed to
know.
let your brethren know this, so they won't say it right before the marriage, but you're supposed to let
Hmm.
them know, or not. If this woman is this or this way, and if she was like that, do you know what they did to those kind of women? Is like, okay, you stone you.
They
Oh,
stoned them,
we
right?
think,
But
we
real,
think
but
that
But you
real,
you're,
but you
but
said
real.
it was in the Bible, real.
or if she was a witch and you're supposed to marry her. Yeah. So Dave has these
But
instances of where they said that. If you read the whole Bible,
uh-huh.
you'll know these things. Like if she's a
Wait,
witch,
real, we're real. No, no, no. Calm down.
I
We're
did
not
read the
saying
whole
you're
Bible and I ain't seen it nowhere. I'm sorry,
father.
Vaughn, but I ain't seen it nowhere in the Bible. But I'm gonna digress and let Vaughn speak.
No, I get what he's saying. Okay, like back
even
in the
God
day.
warned Solomon of his wives. Like, listen, I'm letting you know this beforehand. Though these
No,
women,
real. We're not saying that it's not true. Okay, that's
okay,
not what we're saying. What we're saying is that hasn't been our experience. The three of us on the panel
exactly.
and some people in the chat. Some people, like for example, I know somebody that can tell you a lot of stories. Okay, about things that have happened in church. But what we're saying is we haven't seen that. And I get what you're saying. Like, well, why ask the question if other people are going to interject and say we're not doing that? Because sometimes people are just being messy real and they're haters and they don't want to see people get married. And sometimes yes, women are a little loose out here. Okay, they got a pass.
Or
And
men.
another, or men, and other dudes feel like, oh bro, you shouldn't marry her, and women too. Oh girl, you should mess with him, he's talking to my friend. But that's why in today's day, in my opinion only, when that question is asked, you just shouldn't say anything. And in my opinion, it is getting in people's business, because what did Jesus say? Okay, he without sin shall cast the first stone. Now, however, the only way I see you shouldn't get married to a person is if you are currently cheating on them, if you are already married to another person, and that's pretty much it. Okay, other than that, what you did 6 months ago, okay,
Oh
well,
no, yeah, I'm not talking
don't
about
ask
that.
me,
Yeah, I
don't
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 even
ask
judge
me,
you.
don't
Yeah, I
ask
don't
me.
judge
Okay,
nobody
don't
by their
ask me.
past. It's like a actively thing. Like, cause you know how many men have turned a blind eye and they're just like, oh, I know this dude is married, and I was inside, service like on the field, like
Hmm.
things like military, and I would see certain things, but I would just turn a blind eye, and I would just like, okay, dang, this dude know he got a whole wife and all that stuff. This is my friend. Should I say something to her? But back then, I just was kind of like, well, it's none of my business. And then now they
Right.
go through all this stuff, and then she find out that she be getting pregnant, and now he beat her,
Hmm.
this woman within an inch of her life because she went and
Hmm.
told the wife. And I'm like, dang, I could have just easily helped avoid this. And then the same stuff just kept
Right.
happening. So I'm just like,
But see, sometimes though, real, like, don't be so hard on yourself. Because I'm gonna be honest, okay? I've told people stuff, right?
yeah,
And in this one case, I didn't even say anything to the girl. This guy was venting to me, and he was playing victim, and I called him out, and I was like, "See, we not gonna do that because I know woo woo woo." And I got in trouble by my husband. Okay, my friend got mad at me. All right,
yeah, that's why I
his
don't get
friend got.
involved in
It was
stuff.
like, so you just don't say
Yeah,
anything because you're
you
gonna be the
become the
problem. You're
problem.
gonna be the one that's being messy and hating and trying to tear people up. But all I was doing, in my opinion, was holding said person who was playing victim in my face accountable. It was just me and him. Okay, it was me, him. My husband was literally right next to me, and he got so in his feelings and paranoid. Okay, because he knew he was wrong, that he thought I was gonna say something to his girl, but I wasn't. He ended up telling on himself, thinking I was gonna say something. But all I was doing was saying, what we not finna do is act like you ain't, because there was something going on, and he was like, oh, keep on woo woo woo, and it was like, see, what we not finna do is act like you ain't never woo 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 out the bam, right? So
Yeah,
don't say nothing to people. Just know stuff, nod,
I
smile.
think people
Don't
pick and
agree.
choose because if it was your own mom or a sister or a close friend, I see what people do. They would say, I ain't getting involved. But if it's somebody that close to you or your own mama or auntie and you're so close and you,
Oh,
oh, you
real.
dating this new
Most
man,
definitely. I
see,
have a
that's my
rule. No, 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 real. No, no, no. Because I'm gonna be
point.
honest. Okay, I have told on people. Okay, ask my mother. Okay, I have a rule. You can cheat on whoever you want, but not my mother, because I'm telling. Okay, and
Right,
she is
right.
gonna, back me up, because what do I like? For example, okay, don't cheat on my mama. You can cheat on whoever. You can cheat on my sister, my brother. Okay, I'm lying. You can't cheat on either one of them either. But I
See,
am definitely telling about my mama. Okay, but if you're my friend and I really love you, more than likely I'm gonna find a way to let you know. But it's gonna be really hard for me, to just tell you straight out, because I really don't want you to be mad at me. Because that's really happened to me. Like, people get mad at you when you have good intentions, and they'll think, and it's not even them, their spouse, because you got to remember, we swapping energies and stuff with these people when we lay down with them, right? So it's like they're more in their head than you are, because they've actually been in their body, right? So that person could be like, oh, she hating on us, and she woo woo woo, and guess what? Them people that I was just telling y'all about, okay, Jim just came home and told me the other day, they're breaking up and moving out, okay? And did I want that to happen? No. But I told her, okay? I didn't tell her, y'all. But I knew, okay? I knew. But sometimes you just gotta mind your business and let people do what they do. But if you cheat on my mama, I'm definitely telling, okay?
but
Run it.
yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, that's what I do a lot. I do my own business. But if it has anything to do with like somebody old or like especially like a young child, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. And if you're inside the way, oh well, sorry. Me and my team will do what I have to do. Like certain things you just don't mind your business on, especially if it comes to kids or something like that. And I've saved people because of that. Like I have. And it's like certain things you just cannot turn a blind eye to. Like if I see a kid getting, like hurt or seeing something that I'm okay, I see what this guy's doing and I see with his eyes and this like something like that kind of happened and it's just like I was picking up one of my kids and it's like oh this guy keeps coming by the bus stop blah 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 because this kid's mother was always late so one day she didn't show up so I was just like come with me, but just stand, since y'all know my children, stand outside the house and they'll just entertain you. Brought the tablets out, kept happening. One day I'm just like, man, this ain't my child. I'm tired of this. And then I guess some guy was working on the house, the Spanish man, and tried to bring the girl inside the house. And I saw what was happening, and I'm just like, oh no. And I took my Red Bull inside my hand and I threw it as hard as I could, and it chucked him right by that door and I stopped what was happening. He looked at me and was like, and then the girl walked back out. So it was like, I got involved and didn't care what anybody says. And he knew what he did because when I tried to confront him, didn't want to talk and, oh, I don't know, and I don't speak English and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I saw, and it disappointed me. So it's like, that's, I'm going to do something right there and say something. Kids are innocent.
You know
Hey,
what, real?
Scorpio mama.
But
I a thousand percent.
what do any of this got to do with procrastination? Is the question I
I
got to
was
go.
going to ask that. Thank you. I said what I said.
You're talking about minding your business, minding your business.
I'm going on mute, but I'm gonna say this real, okay, and then I'm gonna move on to the subject. I was recently all in my feelings, because of some stuff here on YouTube, and I wanted to tell people stuff that I thought they should know, but you know what? I realized real. Sometimes it's best to just pray for people, and I'm not being funny. I'm being serious because I'm like that too, real. I want to say stuff, right? But sometimes, God will allow you to know certain things or be privileged to certain things that we're not supposed to share with everybody. And, here on YouTube, when you go live, you're talking to everybody. And even though Sometimes you make phone calls, behind the scenes, and I've been accused of being messy, you know, just trying to, warn people about certain things. And it's like, you know what? I don't do any of that anymore. It's like if I know something, I'm even hesitant to tell I said what I said stuff. I'm hesitant to say anything to like anybody, So you just sometimes you just gotta pray for people,
Yeah, that's
you
fine.
know.
I wouldn't either, especially online. That's one thing
Yeah,
I won't do. Online is a whole different story. It's just like, oh, this, people tell me stuff all the time. I just be like, okay, this and that. And people try to bring me proof and stuff, and I'm just like, I mean, I already knew, but it's just like it doesn't bother me. I'm just like, because I knew, but I don't. I
right.
honestly don't care. Like, I just don't. I don't want to be in that field of realm. I just really don't, and
Yeah,
I could care
yeah.
less.
Cause
I
And
don't.
and
you
and, and let me just put this out here. FYI, I don't care. I really don't care what
right,
folks say about
Yes,
me.
yes,
It don't make me
right,
no difference because they
right.
don't pay no bills for me. They don't put no food on my table. They
You
ain't
ain't clipping
know,
my toenails,
yeah,
right?
you ain't doing nothing for me. So you can say whatever you want to say. So just know that, guys. I'm gonna go back on mute, but I just want to throw
right.
that out there.
But back to procrastinating, okay? So,
Okay, thank
Miss
y'all.
Alice, um, I have been, in my opinion only, okay. And one a couple days ago, my husband came home and gave me like the okay because I had did something that I had been wanting to do for a long time, and I have been not, I know everybody's like, Vaughn, why don't you go live? Be up all night with us anymore? Because I've really been, getting back to myself. Okay, it's not overnight. Okay, I said what I said. Don't you say nothing. Okay, you either, Miss Alice. Okay, don't y'all say nothing. But it's not overnight. All right, Mom, if you're listening, don't you say anything either. But I've really and to me, I've been trying to get back to myself, and I think I've made more progress
She's
in the
bossy.
last. I think I've made more progress in the last three.
On mute.
Okay, so
But
September. So I'm gonna say in the
yeah,
last
no
3 months.
shit.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
back.
Let
I'm
me
back.
say this real quick. Let me say this real quick.
Okay. Okay.
Meanwhile, if y'all want to bless beautiful Center for her birthday, here's her cash app.
Gotcha. Or PayPal.
Okay. All
Is
right, go ahead,
everybody still
Vaughn.
here?
Go ahead,
Yeah, I'm
Well,
still
Vaughn.
I
here.
I
So
think
now,
I've been doing great. I've been getting back to a routine. Yeah. So
What's that? What's that in the background? Can't
that's not me.
yeah, please mute yourself if you're not talking. Go ahead, Vaughn.
Um. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I think I've gotten much better. Getting back to Vaughn. Okay. I bought teacups and robes and socks. I know you're like, what do robes and socks have to do with anything? So, as y'all know, okay, I like to go live and talk a whole lot, like a lot, a lot, a lot. But and I was putting certain things off in the recent year past, but I've gotten a little serious, about Kivon, and that takes my mom says, you have to put in the effort or the work, and I can honestly say, y'all, if it's easy, I'll do it. And I was thinking like self-care, and what I've learned is that focusing on yourself is not easy, and it does take effort and work. And so I'm gonna give y'all, because Miss Alice, you read a Bible scripture, but I recently was talking to somebody about the flesh and the spirit, because oh Lord, I don't want to cry, y'all, but I'm a little emotional, but just listen, okay?
hold yourself together. You
So
got this.
it's like I was explaining to them that, you know, um the Bible talks of, like I was telling them, Proverbs, I want to say it's like the fifth proverb. I'm gonna go look for it because I found the one. Miss Alice, I'm not trying to keep you here, okay? I just want to get a point across. but you know how, I just talk, you know. But it's the
Mhm.
sixth proverb. Okay, it's warnings against idleness, right? And it compares us to an ant. Okay, um, and and y'all know how ants are, right? They are, and they're hard workers. They build their colony by sticking together, right? And I was explaining to them that our 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 spirit. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna read it. Okay, so listen, it's in Galatians, okay, chapter 5, okay, and it actually starts at verse 15. But when you go to verse 17, it says, "For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do things ye would." Right? So we may think that there's nothing wrong with being lazy. We may think there's nothing wrong with I'm gonna use this just for an example. We may think that there's nothing wrong with um uh, having a boyfriend or a girlfriend and being with them outside of marriage and stuff. But see, the problem is this: our spirits, right? Want to do the right thing. So our spirit, and it's like, oh, our mind, our mind is like, man, if I eat that donut, you know, I'm gonna you know, go off my health plan. Or, if I have, whatever with my boyfriend or girlfriend, it's not that big of a deal. But it is, right? Because in Galatians, okay, it talks about like all of those kinds of things, okay? Laziness, you know, you know, um, Miss Alice, am I free to talk? Because I'm a little nervous.
Go ahead and talk,
um,
Go ahead.
okay. So it's like there are when you have self-control, and and there we go. When you have discipline, when you discipline yourself, the reason it's good for us not to put things off or be impulsive is because it's a fruit of the spirit to have self-control, right? But if you're impulsive, or you'll say, I'll start working out tomorrow, oh, it's okay if I, do it with my boyfriend or girlfriend today. Okay, you're giving into your flesh and not your spirit. And the spirit, okay, our spirit can be strong or weak, right? And some of us haven't taken enough time out to work on our spirits, and we're always succumbing to our flesh, right? And when we do that, it keeps us from growing and succeeding, in life. Because once again, the flesh, okay, lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've been trying to really work on my spirit more, and not so much because in here, it says that the flesh is like huh, that the flesh is very, very bad. I can't remember the word right now, y'all, but you know so what I'm saying is, like, when you see people, working on eating better, you see people saying, "Oh, I don't want to like swear," or, "I'm being celibate." They're actually working on their spirits, y'all. It's not a thing just to look good. You know what I'm saying? It's really so that we can grow in the spirit. And do y'all understand what I'm saying?
No, I get it, and it's all a refinement. Like, what you're talking about is refinement and cultivating the spirit until it gets to a certain point where it's like you're not doing those things anymore. But again, it takes time, and it's easier to do when you get older. Because like how many people tell people like, oh, you shouldn't do this before marriage, you shouldn't do that. You know how many people have already done that, and I think that's why it's hard for other people to follow these, because it's just like to hear something from somebody who's already done it. It's just like people get to a certain point, and it's like oh, you shouldn't sleep with this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't. But then it's like if those people already have seen that, to them it's kind of like, dang, but I've already seen you do these things, and I've
Right.
spoken to to these youth, and that's the answers that they tell me. They want to listen, and it's like, okay, well, can we be honest with you? Did you listen to elders when you were younger? And it's the same question and the same answers from everybody, even people who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. No, they didn't listen. They know they didn't listen. But then as soon as you get to a certain age, then people want to tell this person, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. But you did it when you were young. That's the issue that's
Right.
happening.
But real. No, no, I agree with you 1,000%. However, right, um what Miss y'all say it to me all the time. So it's like sometimes people can come off as very judgmental and like like they've never done anything, but
Yeah,
sometimes people are giving you wise counsel. So it's like, hey, real, I'm just saying this to you because I've already been there, done that, and it may not be the
Exactly.
exact same
exactly.
situation, but I'm telling you this because I've already done it and I don't want you to go through it. Right.
Exactly, Vaughn.
But do y'all
Right.
hear the way that y'all are saying it? You can't come in as a dictator saying these things like, "Oh, yes, blah 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 blah," and if you don't do this, I hope you make it to heaven because people be going to. And if you say it like that, that's being a dictator and being very
Right.
condescending of the word, which is a no no. Like it's, I agree with y'all. Y'all are saying it correctly, but there's still a
Right.
way that people have to explain these things without coming off being a holier than thou dictator. And I'm not
Right.
lying about
And
that.
no, I agree with you. But like what is it, pride, and I'm only because I'm really, I guess you can say, I'm kind of experiencing this in real life with myself and another person. Pride, in my opinion, is what causes us to procrastinate, hold things off, because it's like, you know who are you to tell me? Or you don't,
Right.
and some people will say to you, you don't know what I'm going through. And I'm only okay. So y'all know, Miss Alice, is it okay to say this? Leandria Johnson, y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
I just want to say before I say anything, I like
Yes,
her.
sir.
I think she's down to earth and pretty cool. However, okay, I was watching an interview that I thought was a beautiful interview, and she's struggling with alcoholism, right? And she was saying, you know, and she's telling the truth. She never hid her struggles, okay? She never hid her struggles. Um, she, started drinking heavier because her brother passed, right? But it's like I kept hearing, I don't need it. I don't need to drink. I don't, it's not like and it's like, well, that's not true, and it's like I heard ownership, like I know, that's what it was. This is my fight. This is how I choose to grieve. This is what I want to do. And if you ask me, that's like the flesh, pride saying, you know, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it for as long as I can, and when I get ready, to stop, I'm going to do it. Sometimes, in my opinion, God sends people to us, okay, to warn us, because the Bible says warning comes before destruction, to warn us and to try to give us wise counsel, or to try to give us, I ain't gonna say try, he gives us ways out, so that we don't, you know be like trapped for real by the devil. You know what I'm saying? And what is it? Bondage. Um, I feel like he sends people to us to let us know, you know, you have a problem. And the next step is for you to not be proud and arrogant and thinking that you got it all under control and that you can handle it all by yourself, you
Mm,
know, and so that you can, give your issues over to him. Let him help you get through it, or that person that he's constantly, or people that he's constantly sending to, because everybody and their mama know what's going on with her, right? But it's like, I heard her say out of her own mouth, it's not, I don't need it. Then it's like, well, if you don't need it, why why do you do these foolish things? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hold on.
But Vaughn, I'll interject and say that a lot of times we have issues, um, but we don't want to admit that we have a problem. A lot of times it's easier for others to see your faults than it is for you to see your own faults.
I can agree with that, but you know why I think a lot of people probably don't want to admit certain things. Well, not admit, but just bring things to the light because we've all experienced this, and even though a lot of us are listeners and very empathetic towards other people, when you try to bring things to people's attention, like people really don't care. It's all about them and nothing about you. And you go around trying to, okay, let me listen. I got you, but it's like the moment that you want to, okay, you know what, I'm dealing with this, or I need help. It- Go to God, do this. Well, I don't know. But then you sit there and listen to them for hours upon end. So I think that's another reason why people don't, people are afraid to bring things up because they know people will sit there and tell their business to so many other people. Like people make it hard for people. And it's like
Right,
I know people want help. People need help. Even the biggest, you know, hardest motivators out there. Sometimes they have their off days, but people
A
make it
time.
hard for people to tell these things and to get wise counsel from others. They just make it hard. We've all been through it.
right. And yeah, I said all that to say, okay, that's what I was saying. So like, I think in order to not procrastinate or like put things off and wait till tomorrow, because like Miss Alice always say, tomorrow is not promised. Okay, well, I'm sorry, the Bible says tomorrow is not promised. Um, we shouldn't let pride get in the way of wise counsel from people that love us. Because let's keep it real, some people that love us, can tell us, what does the Bible say? Okay, a fool, it can sound wise or look wise until they open their mouth. I don't know, Miss Alice, but you know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes people that love us, okay, isn't the wisest person, but they could be telling the truth, right?
Mhm.
And I think when we say, I got it, like what I tell y'all all the time, I'm I'm married, I have 4 children, I don't need y'all babying me, right? Well, I may be married with 4 children, okay, and I may be in my 30s, but that doesn't mean that some things y'all say to me, and I don't consider y'all fools. I consider y'all wise counsel, okay? It doesn't mean that some things y'all are saying to me or are trying to um, convey to me, isn't true. That I need, to stop or try to work on, certain things to be better, right? Because I think a lot of the time, I'm grown. That's really how I be feeling, like, my mom, I'm grown, you don't have to worry about me. But what she's saying or trying to tell me or trying to prevent is me going through some of the things she's already been through, or she can even give me suggestions on how to make what I'm going through easier. And instead of me saying, "Oh, mom, you don't understand," because I do say that to my mother. I'll even bring up something I know I've done that she's never done, and she'll start laughing and say, "Oh, so you think that that makes you worse than me, or you think that makes me better than you?" And it's like, well, yeah, because you don't understand. But see, that's like pride. That's me wanting to be woe is me, when in reality I don't have to be that way, because You know, she may not have done exactly what I've done, but she knows what it feels like to feel what I'm feeling. Do you understand? Do y'all get what I'm saying?
I
Yeah, I
do,
get
I
it.
do. And that's a
Hmm.
natural thing for people who were more so raised out of survival. Like if you were more so raised off of survival, that's gonna be something that is gonna adhere to your personality where you're gonna say these things of I got this, I know how, and eventually you're gonna figure out it on your own. If you were raised out of survival, more than love, more than likely you're going to be very distant because you're used to figuring things out on your own anyway. And that's just a natural trait that's woven into people's matrix who've been raised off for survival. And it's okay. How do you think our ancestors and our forefathers and grandmothers survived?
Well, I understand too, and I just want to apologize to y'all. Y'all know I was just playing on the phone, and but I understand what you're saying, Vaughn, because like he said, we all have to survive, you know, in life, and sometimes we feel like we know what we're doing, but especially when you're younger, you think you know everything. You think you know what you're doing. And then, like I always tell you, when you get older, you'll find out, like in your 40s and 50s, you'll find out I really didn't know as much as I thought I did. And you'll say that because like when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're very hard on people. Your attitude, your demeanor, the way that you think, you're very hard on people, and you judge them real harshly. But when you start living life, and when you go through life and you go through a few things, then you find out that you really didn't know what you were doing in your 20s. You really didn't know what you was doing in your 30s, and it's like you just kind of wake up when you get in your 40s and 50s. But
Right.
that's only if you're trying to mature, and if you're not trying to be stubborn, because it's a lot of people that's stubborn, know that they're wrong, won't admit any faults, won't apologize, and they'll just keep doing, the same thing. They'll just keep operating the same way, even though they know that they're doing the wrong things. And so that's what you call growth, is when you can admit that you're wrong, and when you can see your faults, and when you stop judging people so harshly, because everybody make mistakes, nobody knows it all. And like I said, in your 20s and 30s, you may think that you know a lot, and you may think that you're doing the right thing, but sometimes you find out that, hey, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have made the choices that I made. you know a lot of things I regret that I did in my 20s and 30s, and I said I wished I wouldn't have, did this or did that. But some people, they'll make those mistakes, and they'll just, keep living life as if, they perfect, and like they never do any wrong.
You're right. And are you a believer in everything happens for a reason? And some people with
Yeah.
certain things, it's like even if they don't get to a certain point, I think like that person can be a bridge for another person as a story. Or, this person, this happened, and now they've seen the error of their ways. But the main thing is to try to like stop and stabilize yourself after that point.
but
So
but everything do happen for a reason. a,
exactly.
a lot of times you be thinking, why did I run into this person? Because I'm really a firm believer in.
It was a choice that was given to you of what you was going to choose at that moment.
But sometimes, though, I think things and people happen in your life for a reason and for a season. Some people are not meant to be in your life forever. Some things that happen to you happen for a reason, and sometimes things you don't understand life, but the
Hey,
longer
Nisi.
the longer you live, and the more things you go through, it'll come back to you, and you'll say, well, this is why this happened to me. This is why I had to go through this or that or the other, or even just some of the career paths that you choose in life. And like, I tell you about my brother
Fact,
I tell you about my
facts.
brother all the time. I worked in various different medical fields, and I had no idea that I was gonna have to come back and reach back and use those skills that I learned just to help just to help out other people in my family. So yeah, I do believe things happen for a reason, and I think people are in your life for a season for whatever reason.
I'm glad you said that, but then how do we, when people will get upset and get mad, and thinking this or that, but if you're like going to a different level or leveling up, or okay, I learned this, and even if God is like pushing certain things away, that's why I'm a strong believer. If you know how people be like, oh, I tell people be careful what you ask for because you don't know what you're asking inside the spiritual realm. You really don't know, and people think they know, but trust me, they don't because the way that the spiritual realm works, it works on such a higher level past our intelligence that when it gets down to us and when it trickles down to us, people don't understand it and they fall back into the same trap. So they'll be like, okay, God, only give what's me for me and remove these people who ain't for me and remove all of them that's not here. And then God will, okay, you asked that, I'm going to start doing it. And they remove so many people. And then guess what? It's just like,
Child.
then all of a sudden, oh, I feel like this is a lonely road and this and this. Well, you asked for it. And then they go right back into the same trap of, oh, well, I'm going to be friends with this person, this person, this person. But if you ask for that,
Mm-hmm.
know that when you go on that road of oh, I want to remove all these people, it's a lonely road. Like if you say those words, it's going to be a lonely road because there's
Well,
few and far
I
in between.
I don't think people I don't know if people ask God to remove people from their lives, but I do know this much.
Oh,
Like
I have.
I hear it all the time, even on
well,
YouTube.
I
but
definitely have.
just listen to what I have to say though. What I'm saying is, like, say for instance, somebody is playing football and they hanging around a bunch of gang members or a lot of people that's a bad influence on them, and they make it to the top. You can't take everybody with you to the top. You just can't you can't take a lot of times you can't take the people that help you get where you going in life. A lot of times you can't take them with you though.
I like that, but some people do not understand that though,
Because
and they'll get pissed.
it's gonna bring you down if you do that. And we've seen countless people, like football players, will say, "Well, why did he go back to the hood? Why is he still trying to hang out with these same people that he grew up with?" And some people, like I said, they're just a season in your life. They only there for God put them in your life for a certain reason, and then you have to sometimes you have to leave people behind. But I'm not saying get to the top and just ask God to remove everybody. I'm not saying that. But if somebody is in your life and they're not influencing you the right way, or it's going to give you a bad look, then sometimes you do have to move around from people, unfortunately.
Right, right. And to answer
Well,
Senator's real question real quick, I'm only going to take 15 seconds. Yes, people do need to be removed. She said, what if people needed to be removed? Yes. But I'm talking about the thing of when these people are removed, we just have to know that for a season, we might be lonely or only have like a few people that are around us that we can count on, like three or four or five versus the usual 15 or 20. Me, I don't care. I like it like that. It doesn't matter.
But
But
that's the way
hmm
we was got. But that's how it always was anyway. You just thought
right.
that you could count on those people. You
Yes.
just thought that
Hey, Cherokee. Thank
you
you for.
just you just thought that those people needed to be in your life, and that's what I'm
Right,
saying
right,
when it
right,
comes
right.
to your immaturity. And that's what I'm saying about when you're in your 20s and 30s. You really don't know what's best for you. You think you know what's best for you, but sometimes God will let you know that what it the thing that you're worshiping, and the people that you're worshiping are really not the people that need to be in your life.
I was gonna say I am a strong believer that that God is very serious when he say he's a jealous God, and he does not like for us to idol um other others here on earth, because um my long story short, I was telling my mother, and I what I like, y'all, about like reading the Bible honestly is that, I hear a lot of people, like even myself, I was reading I was reading Galatians, and I was thinking about of all these people, and I was also including myself, right? But when I read Galatians here recently, I was talking, directly to someone in person, and I got a whole nother revelation about these scriptures, right? What I like about reading the Bible is I see myself in it just as much as I see in others, because some people be like, oh, when I read this, I be think, I think about this person. It's like, and it's biblical that the word is a two-edged sword. So when I was reading about idols, like right here in Galatians it says idolatry, right? But in the Ten Commandments over in Exodus, it says, thou shalt, not worship, whatever, right? But listen, so a lot of the times when you think the world of a person and that person disappoints you, because I think we've all heard or even have an experience like that where it's like, oh, I trusted this person, or I thought this about that person, or God don't like that. It's okay for us to love one another, but when you think so much of another person or even yourself, for example, I can do it all by myself, I don't need nobody. That's a form of idolatry. When it's like, I'm not saying when you're being truthful, like if I was to say, like real, you can trust real, or real is cool people. But it's like when you like what sis just said, like when you're worshiping another person, and you may not even know that you're doing that, but I can give you all examples on how, if you worship another person. So when you uphold unrighteousness, like when you lie, how people, we're supposed to be friends and stuff, but you lie for your friends or you lie for your family member. And and I don't want to trigger anybody, but I just truly trying to give y'all an example, right? So y'all know, like in these movies where these people may have like an addiction problem, or they might be like, thieves or robbers, and their mother will, like, every time they fall, she's there to catch them. Every single time they fall, she's there to cover up for them. That same person, mom, will suffer the hardest, you know, because that person may end up, dead, or, wherever. And it's like, but I was always there for my son. We can't be God to other people. You know what I'm saying? We have to hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? We can't, you know, I love my friends, and I'll be honest, and I'll admit, that I am the kind of person, I will lie for my friends. I'll lie for one of my siblings. However, okay, um, I know that we shouldn't do that because it hinders them, and I've even been told, because like sometimes people ask me a question, I'll say no comment, or I don't want to answer that. And they, oh, that's like giving an answer. I'd rather just not lie, you know, nowadays. I'd rather just not lie, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to get myself in trouble, and I don't want to get the other person in trouble. So I'm more likely to mind my business and pray for whoever than to, you know, be a hindrance to them, or to try to put them on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? So like, I may think that you're a decent person, but I'm not gonna, get, like I said, get myself in trouble, and you trying to cover up for you, or trying to make you more than what you are, or, y'all understand what I'm saying? Because I know what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
I I don't know how to
Yeah.
put it all into simple words, other than I've learned that I have idol worship, people, things, places on accident. It's like, oh, that's a form of idol worship. Yes, and it's like, that's why everybody hates Beyonce. Yes, and it's like, well, I
Yes.
just don't think negative about her. However, it's like when you mention her, I get a little upset. Like like you mentioning God or something. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I have to call my mom sometimes and ask her, am I being religious? Because I don't like when, people say this or when people say that. And she laughs and say, no, you are not, because you have respect, and reverence for, God. So some things are good. It's supposed to make you feel funny when someone says something against him. However, we're not supposed to be like that about Beyonce. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Some people will hurt
Let
you
me
over that.
just say this. I don't hate anybody. I'm not a Beyonce fan, but there's only one person who I have a strong dislike for. And I'm sure I said what I said can relate. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's
Right.
talk about Orange Man.
You know what? Y'all are gonna, not talk about, my friend in Christ.
That's your
Hold
friend in
on.
Christ?
Hold on.
He don't
Before she go
even.
down.
He
Hold up.
was.
Santa, hold up, y'all. Santa getting ready to leave. Santa, enjoy the rest of your day, even if you
Yes,
have to
and
work.
see
Be
you
blessed. Don't work too hard. We love you. Okay. And be safe, Santa. Okay,
later.
go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, Von. I don't. That's the only person I feel like this don't have anything to do with Christ. I'm sorry, but
Did she say brother? Did she say
her
He's
friend, her
downgraded to
friend,
friend, Miss
her
she
Alice.
said
friend in
He's
Christ.
downgraded to friend. Okay,
okay?
because y'all won't let him be
And
my brother.
Alice, this is Alice. This is not the live for you to talk about this. Okay. Whew. I want to go back on mute.
Y'all really know who that man is. Y'all wouldn't be saying nothing.
Who is he? Who is he? Who he supposed to be?
Y'all will find out soon enough. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
don't, 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 don't entertain it. I said what I said. Just yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Vaughn.
I'm not saying nothing.
No, but that's all I'm saying. I have learned, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I really felt at one point, you know, but it's like once you read something for yourself, and I really believe that God will put you through. Well, I ain't gonna say put you. God will allow us to put ourselves through things, because I didn't know this until I actually went through something like it. And when you sometimes when you're talking or you're telling people your experiences, and that's really what I like about therapy, is that you're just talking and then it's like, wait a minute, you know. And when, like I said, when I was, reading about idolatry, it's like, wait a minute, I do this. I even had to admit, y'all, I'm not gonna say that right here, but yes, you sometimes we do that is it unbeknowingly? And yes, God will forgive you, okay, because you didn't know. But once you know better, you do better. And I just don't do that anymore. Like I said, I love my siblings, I love my friends, and you don't have to ask me to lie for you. You just don't. I'm just that kind of person. If it's like, okay, you're in trouble, we need to get you out of trouble. Okay. But it's like I'm not doing none of that no more. Okay, because we both in trouble at this point. Iron is supposed to sharpen iron, and I don't. I want to be iron to my friends, my family, and people in general. I don't want to be a hindrance or a stumbling block to people, and I don't want that for myself either. And I even now feel, because the Bible says we reap what we sow. So now I'm a believer, that when we sow good seeds, because sometimes when you say, oh, you reap what you sow, we think bad. But no, okay, that can go both ways. When you sow good seeds, good things will grow. Some people call it karma. I call it what the Bible say, reaping and sowing. And I
So
want to
hold
sow
on, Von. So you're saying
what?
idolizing people is against God, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Having,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just looking up to somebody is supposed to be wrong.
No, it's like, okay, so um how can I give an example? Okay, so let's say, okay, so I can give it to you like this. So let's say I call Miss Alice, right? I consider her, YouTube family or whatever, right? But any before I make any decision or even just the I need to forget Miss Alice. I need to call my mom before I do this. I need to call my mom. I need to call no, go to God. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with calling your mother or your friend, Miss Alice or you or whoever. But it's like I can't give y'all a good example because that's gonna offend
You can
people.
go
But
to
I know
God.
exactly
And
what you're saying. I know
Yeah.
exactly
oh,
what you're
okay,
saying.
We
okay,
need to seek
yes,
wise counsel too from our brethren who are our brother or sisters who are versed in the ways of worshiping God and knowing things that are wise. It says you can seek wise counsel. Of course, use
yes,
your discernment. So there's a difference.
yes,
But we have to
real,
remember so many people have such this charm of beguilement that you sometimes can end up worshiping or idolizing these people because they just have a
yes,
they it's called trickery, charming and beguiling, just like how Satan beguiled,
yeah.
who.
So
But
it's
people,
like,
but people idolize the preacher all the time. Because I was one of those
And
people
they do.
that
but
had the
but
preacher way up on
right.
a pedestal that they weren't supposed to be on.
But and that's why we're not supposed to do that because we're all human. So it's like, okay, sis. Well, since you brought it up, I'm gonna just give the example, but it's no shade. It's just what I want you to understand.
Just say it. I don't care.
Sure.
A lot of people don't go to church because of what the pastor did, or to them, or in his own home, or whatever.
Yeah, and that's
But if
true.
we
Yes,
if
it's
we
true.
didn't idol worship them and think, oh, pastor, and some wait, baby, when something goes wrong, oh, let's call pastor, oh, pastor, pastor, pastor. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't be hurt by, because you know how they say people hurt people, not it's not God that hurts us, it's the people. So if we would just respect the fact that, yes, okay, pastor is a man of God, but he is not God. You know what I'm saying? He's also human. He's gonna make, mistakes. He's gonna make bad decisions. He's gonna do this and that, but he is not God. Do you understand what I'm saying? If
But
we wouldn't put
yes,
these people on
on a
pedestals, my bad, real. But if we wouldn't
sorry.
put these people on pedestals, we wouldn't be so hurt. And then it's like, you know, you know what I'm saying? It's like
No,
that.
I get it, but when people align with being that of righteousness, and I have my earthly priestly duties as a male or a female, right? We expect a certain level of morals out of these people. So we're gonna think, because there are people who do follow by these things and abide by them, right? So we're thinking that, okay, their fruits of the spirit are correct, because there are people out there who are like that, right? But then there's people who keep doing the same thing. Like if you look at certain church, churches or places to go, they have the biggest lawsuit inside the United States for them to constantly keep, inappropriately touching young males. But yet people keep going, and the same thing keep happening more and more and more and more and more. In the hundreds of thousands. So now we have to look at it like, okay, we know what comes with being a man or woman of God, right? And when these people say these things and say, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that, and I'm righteous and I'm following this, and my God does this for me because I'm obedient, right? We're gonna take that for face value, because like when you see a cop or a firefighter or a judge, you're gonna expect them, when they have on that uniform, to follow the duties in public that come along with it, right or wrong.
Right.
So it's just human nature for us
Right.
to think,
Right.
hey, you're wearing this one form. Uni means one, this one form. So the generality, if you're preaching this and doing this and saying that you're obedient and all this stuff, okay, why would you be lying to us? Why? And then it's like, we're seeing this for a while, and then you go and do something crazy. That's why it becomes hurtful, because it's like, dang, I thought
Yeah.
you were really following the word. Like I thought you were one of the few who was,
but
dang,
it
you kept
shouldn't
such a good
but it
game.
shouldn't stop but it shouldn't stop us from being disciples, because
Yes,
honestly, even though the preacher, I hear you, baby, even though the preachers are the leaders in the church, we're also, leaders too. All of us,
Yeah,
we're
but
all supposed to
don't
be
nobody tell you. But you have to
mhm.
understand though, when you go to church all your life, right? And you
right.
raised up in the church, and everybody is worshiping the pastor this and pastor that and pastor, and then he's putting
Mhm.
this, and a lot of those preachers do put themselves on pedestals,
Hmm.
Right.
and people, like Real said, people just expect you to act a certain way and have a certain moral standard, and if no one ever
Mhm.
tell you any different, how would you know? And you don't think
Exactly.
that will be a huge disappointment for people who worship and who looked, and I won't even say worship, but who looked
Mhm.
up to a preacher who looked up to any preacher of any church of high,
Mhm.
people look at them of high value, if I can put
Mhm.
it that way, or you expect them to act a certain way, and not saying that they're not human and that they can't make mistakes, but
Mhm.
you can't be a preacher and be out there in the streets also doing everything that the streets
Yeah.
do, and then call
Facts.
yourself a
Facts.
preacher, and
Yeah.
then don't
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then get mad. I mean, and then don't understand or try to ostracize the people that saw you in the streets,
Mhm.
doing what you do, and then you go to church on Sunday, and you casting out, you doing this damnation preaching, fiery preaching about what's the right thing
Mm.
to do and what's the wrong thing to do, but yet and still
Mhm.
you're no better than the people that's on the outside of the church. So you don't
And
think that would be harmful to
mhm.
people, and you don't think people
Oh yeah.
look and say, well, I really don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am
No,
I
yeah.
even, yeah, why am I even going? If pastor gonna be out here doing this and that and the other, then what I'm gonna go to church for?
But the
Because
thing about it
no,
is that a
what?
lot of times we put as far as the church is concerned, a lot of times we think that the church is exempt from wrongdoing, where we are definitely worshiping leaders in the church. And a lot of
Right.
times discernment can help you realize that maybe that's not the church for you or the pastor for you. But a lot of times we will stop completely dealing with the church because of what a few pastors did to make the church look bad. But if we, like, I believe that we need that spiritual guidance. So I see it
Mm.
like this: like, if I go to Safeway and Safeway has bad meat, I may say I'm not going to go to Safeway anymore because they are giving bad meat and I can't be eating bad meat. But that's not going to stop me from going to the grocery store. I might go
Right.
to another store. I'm
Right.
just not going to go to that one. So, and a lot of times,
Mm.
the Bible tells us to beware of wolves in sheep clothing. So, a lot of times, these things are being revealed just to let you know that that's not the church for you, or maybe that person. Everybody in the pulpit, not everybody who's in the pulpit crying, Lord, Lord, is not of God. And so sometimes things do happen and people are exposed just to let you know that perhaps these are wolves in sheep's clothing. But we
No,
shouldn't worship
you're
anybody
right. You're right. We have to
in
be
church,
careful of
out of the
it.
church.
And I'm glad you said a few churches, because it's not just one church.
Mm-hmm.
And some people experience it's like every time you turn around, every church you go to, you see these things, and I can understand why a lot of people, and I'm not trying to push anybody away from the church, but I do understand why a lot of people just don't go to church no more. And it's data driven, that the church have lost a lot of people because of the behaviors of the people inside the church, and
Yeah, I
i.e.
think
But
pastors.
I think
no,
those people are going to have to pay a heavy price for that. Those people
I
who are so
agree.
called in leadership and they do things like that, I think they're going to have to pay a heavy price for that. But
But that doesn't
Second
make
Timothy,
people. But that doesn't make people not believe in God, and that doesn't make them. Because I just heard Vaughn say that you're not a disciple. That you should be still be a disciple for Christ, and that doesn't mean that you're not a disciple for Christ.
I
Because as
agree.
Exactly.
long as you're trying to tell people to do the right thing, to me, that's a disciple of Christ.
I
It's just
agree.
that you
No,
don't
I'm
go to
not.
the
I'm
church.
not. No, that's not what I meant when I said that. What I'm saying is, and this is my strong belief, and I stand firmly on this, is that, like Miss Alice said, you still need spiritual guidance. Okay. And it's not, I'm not dismissing anybody's feelings of why they no longer go to church. But my question is, well, where are you getting your spiritual guidance from? Because let's just
Ooh.
be honest here, okay? Now, no shade to nobody, because although, okay, I'm new in Christ, no, I don't be in my Bible every single day, okay? In fact, I need reminders, okay, to read my Bible. But it's like people are, in my opinion, so caught up in what pastor did and what the church people did, as if we ourselves are not also guilty in sinning. And don't get me wrong, yes, I know that it is biblical that false teachers and doctrine and all of that, they're going to be held accountable. But why do we allow people, okay, places and things to keep us from our salvation? For
Ooh.
example, okay, when I say people, places, and things like unforgiveness, okay, people, church, places, I'm not places, church, people, okay, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. I totally understand it. But a lot of people that have walked away from the church, and I really wish a certain person was here, have walked away from church based on church hurt, and that kept them from what they felt, would have helped, because the Bible is often spoken of as our daily bread, right? So it's like, the why is it called the daily bread? Okay. Or what, because it's feeding the spirit. And even though we go to church, what, once a week or maybe twice or three times, depending on, your denomination or whatever, if someone isn't, giving you that spiritual food, someone that knows what they're talking about and is living the life, but also a sinner, and you're so busy looking at the messenger instead of getting the message, how are you going to be spiritually fed? So it's not that I just feel that,
Yeah.
people that don't go to church don't know God. I know for a fact you cannot be in church and know that God is real. But it's like, what did I say? Iron is supposed to sharpen iron, right? Right? So who's
Yes.
sharpening you? Is it a friend?
The
Because
church.
if
Yes, a
it's a
friend.
friend, that's good. Is
It's a
it your
friend. A friend,
husband?
because the
You
church is
know,
the people. Remember these buildings that are out here. Remember, he said that these places that are here are not built by human hands. Christ specifically said the church is the people. It's the people. So you could have somebody
right,
that that you could call on the phone, and it's just like, oh, y'all can have a good time, 2 hours talking about the scriptures, talking about the Bible, talking about good things, and
right,
praying with one another. And the reason why people walk away from church, right? Y'all have to remember, some people are so strong with how they feel and these things, right? You can't have a man that's supposedly a man of God that's like sinning, right? You know what kind of spirits that man holds once you begin to sin really bad and still fake the funk in front of the church, and then you have no God within you, but you're just saying it, and that man want to touch you and want to lay all types of hands all over you, everybody hold hands and all this stuff. That is not good. It's not good at all. I'm gonna
right,
tell you. And it's like, how are you going to have a man bless you that's doing all these things like so bad, and he's willingly
right,
lying in front of the people? And then it's like, let me, that's why they hold your hands for so long. They know what they're doing. He's like,
Mm.
let me just throw
But
this off
But
on
at
you.
but at the end of the day,
right,
though, but at
right.
the end of the
I'm just gonna
day,
say right.
but at the end of the day, Bond, is a lot of times it's not that you looking for the pastor to do something or the preacher to do something. It's like you go to church and
Mhm.
stuff just stumble upon you. You just stumble upon
Yeah,
things that you're not even
yeah.
looking for. You may be going to church and really trying to seek God and really trying to be a Christian and really trying to do walk the right walk. But then lo and behold, you turn around and on a day that you're not going to church and you see the preacher doing something that and he know is not right. So how are you
Mhm.
supposed to have discern? I mean, how are you supposed to separate those two? How are you supposed to just say, oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't care what he does, I still need to just go to the church and try
No,
to get.
you don't dismiss that. And now y'all got to keep in mind this has not happened to me. All of my pastors have been my relatives. Okay, if I'm being honest, any church that I've truly belonged to has been a relative of mine. And we used to belong to one mega church. So I'm not the best person to talk about church hurt with. Okay, I was more, in my opinion, I was an agent for the other side. Okay, I was totally against God. Okay, so what I'm gonna say is, um, I just I believe, that we don't pray for our spiritual leaders. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like, I feel sometimes I honestly God don't care who go to church and who don't. I don't. The only thing I really care about is, being fed spiritually. And I just don't, what I will say I care about is, you know, when people, detest God, and I'm not talking about you, sis, but there are some people, who detest God so much because of what people have done and what people, do, and they take it out on God. Like I even made a joke the other day to my husband and my mom. I'm like, yo, people don't even be mad at Jesus. It's like we be mad at God when we mad, you know. And it's like because of what people, and our own selves put ourselves through, you know. And sometimes it's even what, like you say, it don't even have to be church. Some things just, come up on us, We can be, some people are out here like Job, you know, and are going through things, and folks be mad at the man. My only worry is for people like that who don't see the glory of God and what he does and how he takes all those bad things that happen to us or that we do to ourselves and turn them into a testimony. But I don't think just because people don't go to church they don't know God. To me that's an ignorant, old school type mentality. And I easily get offended when people assume that about me, because before I got saved, I was around, older people who felt, that I wasn't a wholesome woman because I wasn't in church. And if you ask me, most of the, non-wholesome women are in church. Okay? Now that's just my opinion. So, I don't think that way. And like I said, I really don't care. I just more so, want to know when people are here on YouTube, preaching the gospel, or people are walking around preaching the gospel, who's feeding you? Who is your covering? Where are you getting all? And some people, oh, I can talk to God. I don't have to go to a preacher. I disagree. It's
Uh,
not about having to go to, huh? Shut up. Okay, I'm
you went
sorry.
out. No, you went out. I didn't hear
Okay, I probably went out because,
everything.
but and I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's just
I
you
get it.
know
Like, where's your
some
spiritual feeding coming from? And we have hope.
yeah.
That's why it hurts us when this happens, because when we look at people, if we see somebody doing something good for so long, we have hope. That's why we put these people, I won't say on a pedestal, but it's like, dang, if you could do it, I can do
I
this.
can do it
Yeah,
right.
yes, that's why we hold these people to a certain standing for them to not do anything. And when they do it, it's just like you're no better than this person. You were doing all this and talking about, oh, this person ain't full of God. And you turn around and did the same exact thing, and then it's, oh well, we're not perfect, but we're looking for a hope somewhere where we can follow a
Right.
standard where it's like, dang, you're doing it. Yo, I'm really feeling this. Just like somebody's working out or doing something or teaching, good wisdom, like how y'all doing here. And it's like, yo, we're following it. Yo, this is good week by week. And then until somebody messes up. And it's like, dang, that's the only thing I was holding on to was hope. And you didn't mess that up. That's what happens. That's our human side.
Well, let me just say this. I didn't just see
That's me, but
one church. To me, and really what the way I feel about it is because the way I feel about it is it's like, churches fellowship with other churches, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So you're not just when you go to church, you're not just involved with one church. You're involved. It's just kind of like this YouTube. We all fellowship with each other. We all follow each other on each other's channels, and it's the same concept with churches. They have a special group of churches that that they all follow. Everybody is within the same community or whatever you. But when you go to all these different churches and you see and maybe I was too close up too close and personal with the church as far as being married to a preacher or what have you. But I'm just saying when you that close to the pulpit and you see so much behind the scenes that goes on with preachers and how they run their churches in the background, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it kind of turns your stomach, and it kind of
You're
makes you
so right.
it,
Like
it
you don't
makes
have
you
to
Yeah.
be ordained
feel
by God. You can go
yeah
to a
I
seminary
definitely
school.
no. I
Yeah.
definitely
it,
get that because when you're in any kind of leadership, a first lady or you are head of any ministry, the closer you are to the pastor, the more you see. I
okay,
know that from personal experience.
right.
Yeah.
And you see, and you don't just see it in one person. It's like you see it in a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I mean, like, are these people a farce? Are they playing with
But some
God?
people don't
Right.
Are they?
care. Like
Well,
you
hold
could
on,
go to
real.
a
Well,
school
hold
and
on,
get
real. But
this
I'm just
done.
saying, it makes you feel like everybody fake. It makes you feel like you know that they're not real. They're not doing this for real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way I felt about it because I just seen so many different avenues of it. I seen not just one person. I seen a lot of people doing. It
Yeah.
was more than one. So let me just put it like that.
I get that. I've left churches
And I'll
because
be
of
back,
that.
y'all. Somebody at my door. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I've left churches because of that. Because of um, seeing things that I didn't see as lining up with the word. But my thing is, um, just because you have bad experiences with one's church or several churches, um, doesn't mean that there isn't a church out there for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, I get what you're
Cause
saying,
I
Vaughn.
think,
I get
cause
exactly what you're
I,
saying. Who
yeah,
are
cause
you
I
being
don't want
fed by
nobody to
when
think,
you go to the
yeah,
church? When you leave there, where you getting spiritually refilled from because you run the chance of easily falling into this prideful temptation. So
Hey,
I get
Joe.
exactly what you mean. I get it.
Happy
yeah,
Thursday.
cause I feel like, and this is just me, y'all. I feel like if I stop going to church right now, and some of y'all may feel like some people may hear, oh, that's just because you weak mind. No, I believe that if I stop going to church, eventually I won't pick up my Bible. Eventually, I'll just, yes, Gemma, I said that. I just feel like it'll be a ripple effect, and I'll start to, just, you know what I'm saying? And I'm only saying that because I feel like some of everybody that I know that used to go to church heavy or even left the church and are back in the church, we all kind of agree that it's good for us somehow, right? And it's not that we just idolize the church or, I think the world of my pastor because he's my, relative. I know these people in real life, and y'all also have to keep in mind I'm not judgmental anyway, right? However, if my uncle, whom I love, I know he's not doing what he's supposed to do, it would disappoint me. Why? Because, a part of his testimony, and maybe I shouldn't do that, but I'm just being honest, y'all. But a part of his testimony and a part of some of the things that he's been through is why I attend his church, right? Um, so it's like when Miss Alice be talking about, role models and, all of this and that, I get a little irritated, you know, and, that's why the other day, when I went live, I was like, I ain't nobody's spiritual leader. Truthfully, I even know that that's a lie. Okay. Because, like I said, we're all disciples in church, outside of church. We're all somebody's example. Our salvation will lead someone else into salvation. And even if you're not, um, like me, a mom, okay, we all have some type of job to do here on earth. Our lives are not our own. And I believe that whether you believe in God or not, because it's like, okay, I may not be a leader in the church, but I'm still an example and a leader in my own home. And my pastor gave a sermon about, being on he was like, a lot of y'all get mad at your kids, and want to, shame them for calling you out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, he was like, y'all be on the phone gossiping and talking about sister so and so, and your child will say, well, didn't pastor say you're not supposed to do that? There's always someone around to hold you accountable, is what I'm saying. Whether it's a child, a
Adrian.
neighbor, a friend, someone on YouTube, whether they're just speaking, to their audience. To me, I can't ever escape accountability. I can't ever escape conviction. And this is just my opinion of how I feel. So when people say, that, I don't need no guidance, I don't need no pastor. You may not need a pastor. You may not need, any guidance, or you may feel like you're just so, grown that you don't, I feel like there are leaders and spiritual guidance and conviction everywhere that we turn, right? You just have to want to be open to even looking at it that way, because you may not be going to church. You may not, whatever, but God may send you real to my channel to be like, yo, does it say that in the Bible? Vaughn, why you out here saying that? Or should you be doing that? Vaughn, and you supposed to be, y'all get what I'm saying?
No, I get
You
it.
know,
Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
so it's
Yeah,
not that I just, yeah, it's not that I just feel that it's about, to me, it's about pride. I didn't want to say it, y'all, but because I'm really not trying to offend nobody, but to me, it's about pride. And I feel like if we just put that pride aside, if we put that pride aside and humble ourselves before the Lord, okay, and not people, and recognize that, yes, we're sinners too, but we also need to be praying for folks. We also need to be trying to, be of wise counsel and of have good character and not be so holier than thou, that we would all get along great. And I know that's impossible, y'all, but that's just how my mind works. Okay. Now I'm gonna be quiet now.
well, I don't feel like it's pride. I just feel like Real said, I just feel like a lot of people been hurt.
yeah, they have. If you go to a place to be healed and filled, you don't want to go to a place that's going to do the same thing to you that happened to you out on the street and cause trauma again. Like it's just it's a trauma, and it's like I came to this place to be restored and be refilled, and this happened. And it's not that people are sitting there like, oh well, this is this and this is that, I ain't going, but sometimes it's a trauma for certain people. And then yes, in agreement to Vaughn's, some people just don't want to go to church, like they feel like I don't have to do anything, like that's just some people. There's a small accountability, but I'm talking about the people who have been hurt and have trauma, and you're looking to be refilled by God, and then this happens. It can really destroy somebody's mind who has like trauma, past trauma to them. It's just like, dang, where can I go? But Vons, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about them people that's like, I don't need nothing. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. I'm self-taught. I'm self this. I'm self that. Nobody can't tell me nothing. Nobody can judge me. And I'm all that. I get it. There's those that kind of people too. And I don't need no church.
Yeah, I feel bad. You know, like I said, I know people who've been on both sides. Some people have come back. Some people still haven't come back. Like I know someone, y'all, who is in my opinion, a true prophet. You know, but they were told that, you know, speaking in tongues was witchcraft, and they walked away from the church. And in my opinion, they have not been right since. And I even got offended because now it's okay to joke and say that you're a witch, you know, because they were talking to somebody and they was like, you ain't nothing but a witch. And I was like, why would she say that? And they were like, oh, you know, don't get offended. She was just playing. I was like, no, that's not funny. But see, to me, I'm looking at it like that's why you walked away from the church because, you know, you see and know things or whatever. And, you know, people call that witchcraft. And what's crazy is they were even explaining to me what, like, I know that. And it's like, yeah, but I just don't like that because it's like now it's so normal to say that to you and you're no longer offended. But that's what's keeping you in bondage, feeling that, you know, you're a witch or something, or that, you know, you're some type of witch. And it's like, that's not true. Do
Well,
y'all understand what I be
Well,
getting
well,
offended. Let me hush.
I understand. I understand what you're
yeah.
saying, but let me just say this: it's a lot of people that's genuine, right? And it's a lot of people, just what Alice is talking about today about procrastination. Okay, and some people, and you know, you're not all people are not like this, but it's some people that dot I's and cross T's. And if they doing something, then that's just what they're doing. They not faking, they're not shaking, and they really are, you know, they're really praising God for real. And they've seen God, you know, for real. And it's nothing fake about them. So when you run into a church or you run across somebody that's representing the church, and especially if they're the pastor or the preacher of the church, and you see that they're not really, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and they just up there in so many words, really grifting the people, because that's what a lot of preachers do, in my opinion. Some people are doing it for fame. Some people are doing it for fortune. Some people are doing it for power. And it's very few people doing it for the Lord, in my opinion, from what I've seen, because I've been in church for a minute. It ain't like I just went to church one day and saw this all in one day and just say, oh, no, this ain't for me. It's like I keep saying it over and over and over again. And some people, when they do things, they do it full force. They don't play around, you know, when it comes to God. So it's very disappointing when you see somebody who played like that they're for God, and they really not, you know. And like Alice said, you got to have discernment. But at the end of the day, it could be tiring, and it could be very disappointing. And like I said, it could be very hurtful, because you're trying to live this, you know, you're trying to live your best life, and then you find out that, you know, this all this guy wanted was your money, or all this guy wanted was to try to talk to all the women in the church, because you got some preachers that do that also, that you know, have relationships with the women in the church. And like I said, it's all type of people in the church for all type of reasons. But if you're the type of person that do something and you're doing it for real and you're doing it with all of your heart, then yes, ma'am, you're gonna be hurt. And it's a very hard pill to swallow. And yeah, I assume only God can get you back there, is what I want to say about it.
Yes, I agree with that, sis. I strongly believe that only God can change people's hearts, and I'm saying that because y'all know I got control issues, and you know, so you know I've just, you know, but I don't. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Only God can bring people, you know, where they're supposed to be and have them doing what they're supposed to do. You know, we can only be disciples. And I feel that way about the preachers and everybody in the church, everybody outside the church. We can only be disciples and give the message and pray that people ain't looking at us and receiving the message.
And to bring it all back around, if you know that you should be doing anything, maybe you should be considering um, finding a new church home, or maybe you should be considering reading your word more, or being a better person, whatever it is. We should just stop procrastinating because tomorrow isn't promised to any of us.
You're so right. And then for the people who do struggle with that, this is just a suggestion. Again, because I'm not going to be those people that tell you this is what you got to do, this is what you should do. If you find yourself not going to a church or something like that, there is a way to still keep in there, and it's by seeking things that you. So, like, if you have a hard time with this, put this inside your head, like, okay, what would Moses do right now? What would Elijah do right now? Or constantly just pick up the word, or constantly stay in prayer. As soon as you feel like something's about to happen, and if you can't get filled spiritually, do it yourself. Like, call upon God. And if it takes you 2 hours to sit there in
Yeah,
prayer by yourself, shutting up, not being around anybody, that's a good way to establish a connection too. But
yeah,
sometimes you don't always want to depend on somebody to refill you. Like, you can't be like that either, because you know how many people in other countries wish that they had a church to go to, and you know they talk to us Americans like, "Oh, y'all get to easily go to church, do this." They gotta sneak and go in the sewers or by a cave. There's no church, and they just meet with another 5 or 10 people. And it's like they don't go to church; they just talk with people. They read together, sit by a
yeah,
tree, and they do it that way. They have no church because
yeah.
they're being
I don't see
promoted.
anything wrong with that either. And I just want to say this. That's one of the things my reverend told me in Bible study was that, and if you want to, matter of fact, I wrote it down. If you want to build your relationship with God, what you do is okay, what you do is it's spiritual discipline. Okay, spend time with God, which is meditating, prayer, fasting, reading your Bible. Okay, the Bible, in my opinion, is not just some book you read and you remember the stories. It is your daily bread. You feed in your spirit. Service. Okay, and last but not least, solitude, like Real just said. So, you don't need a pastor to do that. But like I said, let's be honest, what are we doing to keep a relationship that there we go and fellowship with God, because what do we do outside of, it's just I don't go to church. A lot of us, myself included, I didn't go to church. I read Proverbs every now and then, I knew right and wrong, but was I fellowshipping with God? No. Was I praying? No. I wasn't doing anything. I was, like I said, I was a whole agent. you know. So it's like, no, you don't have to go to church, but we go to church to, for community and be around like-minded people that will, in my opinion, iron sharpen iron, you know, understand your struggles and your lifestyle. And like Miss Alice said, use discernment. I tell my mother everything about what I'm going through. And even when I feel like I can't tell her, some which way I end up telling her, and I'm not saying, I know everybody doesn't have their mom, but I'm just saying, find people that you can trust, that's in church, and you will know them by their fruits. If you see them talking about everybody in the church, not to talk to that person. You know what I'm saying? you know, but I feel like, when you do that, you're good. I don't know what I'm going to do without my mom. I pray that, the Lord does send me a good friend, that I can, really, really trust in church. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I feel we should go about it. You know what I'm saying? All right.
You're right, and the reason why it affects you that way, just remember this, Bonds. When you were on the other side, and when you were an agent, you weren't just an agent; you were a powerful agent on that side. So when you try to flip the script and go to the celestial positive side of it, things are going to affect you a little bit differently, and this is probably why you probably need to be rooted in a place where it's like you have to constantly hear it. Does that make sense? So that you don't go back to that. Like if you had 100%
Yes.
full foot over there, it's like, dang,
Mhm.
I know how powerful of a person I was on that side. I know I was a storm. I was Jean Grey. But now that you're okay, you got to go to this side and be Phoenix or something. Now it's like, okay, I had such a strong foothold over there. I need something that's going to keep me balanced because now what I'm getting is everything hits you harder. Like the conviction hits you harder, science hits you harder. Divinity, divine intervention hits you harder. It's going to be like that if you were Asian or if that's inside your bloodline. And if it's that's part of your bloodline, it's just going to
Whoa,
hit
whoa,
you.
whoa. Agency in my bloodline, real. I don't think that's it, but go
No,
ahead.
no, well, it talks about generational things that happen to people. Like if people were of this, and people were worshiping this of their forefathers, it can trickle on down according to the scriptures. Like for the sins of the forefathers. Even though Christ did forgive us of these things, that still doesn't change the fact that it can still be there, even to this day. That's why Christ is very well
Mm,
aware of it, and he has to come back because he knows that it's going to keep happening. That's why he's got to come back and destroy it. Because we can do all, I mean, if you believe in Revelations, we can try all we want, but he's still going to have to come back anyway. He has to because it said it's going to get bad. So all we do is try what we can. But if you believe in the scriptures, it's going to turn away because it's so infected. But we do our part. We stand aside and do what we can. But it's because it's out there. And like I said, there's things people, they're not going to tell you this, but certain factions know these things and they know that people are ignorant to it and they're going to let people continue on that ignorancy because there's more things that is known out there, but they're not going to tell y'all. They're not. So it's like that stuff is very real. It's bloodlines, this and white thing. Oh, here, let me check this person's blood. Here, 23 and me. Oh, let's take this placenta. Let's check this child when they're a kid. They know these things. They
But
do.
let me ask this question, Alice. Is it anywhere in the Bible, or are you the real? Is it anywhere in the Bible where other disciples went to church? Because I don't see that. I've never seen that in the Bible. I saw that Jesus
No.
visit the synagogue, but
Yeah,
I don't see it.
it
I
was
don't
just,
see it
yeah.
anywhere
There's not,
where
no.
everybody that was preaching for God, like Paul and
No, they went to
no.
Moses
the
and the
synagogue. They
rest of
met
the
by the
people. Yeah,
water. They
yeah,
talked. There was
yeah.
You
See,
see,
no.
go ahead.
I
No.
thought the church was in them though. That was the
The
whole
church
point.
is the people, but see, that's the thing. You could speak to somebody like if you know somebody got the spirit within them. You could speak to your brother or your sister or somebody on the street or somebody at the store. That's why just get up and go, and these people will be attracted to you, and these people who are not for you will be disemboweled from you. You know what
But
I'm saying? But the
but
church is
isn't
the
that
Mm.
people.
but isn't that an indicator that we don't have to necessarily have to fellowship in the church, since
For some
none of those
people,
people. Hold on, let me ask the question. Some of those people didn't fellowship in the church. They just preached the word of,
Mm.
that they preached the word of God, but I didn't see it anywhere in the Bible. And I just want to make sure that I didn't make a mistake, that I seen any other the disciples went to church at all. I mean, they had faith, and they preach God's word, or what have you, but I don't see it anywhere where it actually say that they visit the synagogue. Only Jesus, and he didn't go
Mhm.
every Sunday. They said he
yeah,
visit. So
correct.
Mm.
Correct. And some people are going to have a stronger magnet inside them. And there's proof for what I'm saying, and is that's why some people would have like certain conduits to God, like Aaron. Oh, I needed this breastplate. Moses, I had this staff. You're going to use this staff. You're going to use this breastplate. Oh, Samson, my hair. And other people just had a direct connect. Like, okay, it's a stronger magnet to them. Some people are gonna, and it says that in there about the bloodlines. This is going to be stronger than them. These people are going to have a stronger connection, but the what is it? The elder are going to serve the no, the younger are going to serve the elder. But this group of people is
Mm.
going to be stronger. Like that's specifically what it says. And he's like,
But
choose
wait,
you as my
wait,
group of people.
wait, real. I just had a revelation. I've been saying it this whole live, but it's spiritual feeding. Okay.
You're right.
Okay, so I read the Bible, right? And what did I tell y'all? I don't even be knowing what I'm talking about. When y'all be in the chat and y'all know more than me, I still feel like I'm in Sunday school, which is, in my opinion, a good thing because I do not want to be anybody's evangelist. Okay. However, right, sis, there is someone out here, okay, that knows the Bible, and like Real was just saying, have that stronger connection so that we can understand. So if so, what I go to church what once a week, okay, then Bible study on Wednesday. Okay, so yes, without those weekly feedings, y'all have even said it yourself, Vaughn. We can tell you ain't been reading your Bible. Without those spiritual feedings, how are you feeding your spirit?
You have to.
Because
It's a
yes,
choice.
we
It's a
can
choice.
all, but wait, Real, we can. I just don't believe that if we're all the body of Christ, okay, we're all each and every one of us, okay, we're all a part of the body of Christ. You said that they weren't in church together, that they weren't fellowship, and there was just someone preaching. Those people that were preaching had what Real calls the stronger connection. So if I don't have that strong of a connection, even though I know that, I can go to God myself, and he sends Miss Alice to give a word every Monday and Thursday, okay? But I don't want to listen, or I'm not present because I don't do church and I don't want to go to church. I'm going to be out here leaning to my own understanding a lot. I'm going to be led astray because let's keep it real. We do all have our own minds, thoughts, and opinions, and we all can read the Bible. I've done it. I've read Proverbs and told y'all what I thought it meant. And y'all was like, no, Vaughn, it means this. Or go to Matthew so you can see that. Without that community, I don't feel that we can be a part of the body of Christ because we all teaching each other something. There's someone there that doesn't understand but wants to understand. There's someone there that's struggling, that can, oh well, if I said what I said, got through it, I can get through it. So that's why I believe the church is important. Now, I'm gonna keep it real. Just with this conversation alone, I feel like we should all start a church because if we're honest like this with each other on these panels, that's how we should be honest with each other in church and not be so judgmental and thinking that pastor has all the answers, because yes, he does have, the knowledge and the, education, but that doesn't mean he has all the fruits of the spirit. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that he doesn't need feeding too by being around other people, because in my opinion, when you're isolated and by yourself, that's when the devil really gets you. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody care, and you can do this and not get caught, and who's gonna say something to you? And it's like nobody, if nobody is around, and it's just you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I
So
get it, but
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
I
better off
understand
by
what you.
myself because then it's like I'm not around people that's going to push my mind or upset me or angry or annoy me with their annoyingness, annoying of annoyings. And it's like, oh, I get to sit by myself. Now I don't have to be around these people. I don't have to be around, I don't have to go out on no club. I don't have to drink. I'm sit.
yeah,
That's just different. Everybody's different though. Some
Yeah,
people, they get in trouble by themselves.
and I'm not saying it's to discourage anybody from going to church. Trust me, I'm not. Because I feel like everybody should have their own opinion about how they want to feel about it, whether or not they want to go or not. That's not up for me to judge. I was just saying it because no shade to you, Vaughn, and nobody else that's in church, but I hear a lot of people say, you have to go to church, you have to fellowship, God want us to fellowship with one another. Yes, he do want us to fellowship with one another, but why go to the church and you have a negative attitude about church? Because the church is not really, a lot of these churches are not following God's law. They're following what just Charlie Angels just said. They're following man's law. A lot of these
Pharisees
bylaws of the churches are man-made, and they're not
and
God-led.
Pharisees, correct. And it specifically warns you of that. Be careful of going to these places of these people who teach this stuff because you will be on a track to hell. It says these people are leading you and adding in their false teachings
And
in
that's what I
in
didn't
the
want to
church.
do. That's what I don't want to do, is follow the wrong
yeah.
church and wind up in hell
Because it
anyway.
says that. Read Matthew. He
But
specifically
sit,
on this stuff. But
wait,
I hear
wait,
what you're
Real.
saying.
Wait, Real. I was gonna say, sis, you know what I do when I listen to people on YouTube? I don't care who it is. I go straight to my Bible. Like I was listening to this. It was like sleep peacefully through the Word of God, and they was saying something. And y'all, I was like, let me go
Hey,
look
so
because
blessed.
they gave us the scripture, right? I went and pulled that scripture up so fast. I was like, oh, okay. I fact checked. You know, I'm not just gonna listen to everything you say. I'm gonna ask somebody that I feel knows more than me. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I like about my church is that we're Bible based. You know, because what I've learned is, which I did not know this, which is what you said, sis. It's a lot of people in here preaching stuff that, false doctrine that ain't in the Bible. Having us not wear nail polish, which, some people say that that's in the in the Bible, but it's not. Okay. And I'm be honest, I don't know if it is or if it ain't. I just heard it ain't, right? Because a lot of stuff that I
I
used
haven't
to
seen it.
believe, a lot of stuff that I used to
Me either.
believe ain't even in the Bible. It's not there. It's not even there. So, you know, I get it, having a bad attitude towards church. I'm gonna keep it real. I feel like, people were gonna judge me. And I have yet, well, that's not true. One lady rubbed me the wrong way, but she didn't know she was talking to me. But listen, um, just fact check, and like Real was saying, we gonna know them by their fruits.
Right.
If you
But
out here
I
preaching,
think church is good for some people, especially because I feel like church is kind of like a hospital for the people who
mm,
really, really need it, for the people that's really, really, lost. I really do feel like churches, for certain people or for some people, I just don't feel like everybody have to go in order to get to heaven. That's all. I feel like because God know your heart and He know, He know your intentions. He know your heart. He know you, and um, you're trying to live by His principles and you're trying to walk and follow him. I just don't believe, and please, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way because this is just for me. For me, I just
right?
don't feel
Yeah,
like I have to go to the church house in order to make it to heaven. That's all I'm saying
yeah.
for
I
me,
don't, I don't, I
not
don't
for
know if I
everybody
believe
else.
that. I don't know if I believe that, but I know that if I stop going to church, I'm be out here more heathen than ever. Okay, I'm be
Right.
trapped again, and I just don't want that. That's why I
I
go to
mean,
church.
there's some people who
But I have
like both of
but I
y'all.
have control. But that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like that. I'm out here just doing it and everything. I could be out here doing a whole lot, but I don't.
Right? Yeah.
Right, and
I
there was
get. No,
some
I
people
get what you're
that were
saying.
saved at
I
the
get what
last
you're saying.
minute, like that man who was on the cross next to Christ, right? He didn't go to church a day in his life, but I mean that right there is
Exactly. Real.
different,
Right.
yeah, because that's called grace. Like that man was given grace. Now, some of us may have that, some of us may not, but that man didn't go to church. He did this. He was a thief and whatever else he did. But since he believed wholeheartedly at that very moment, he was given grace to be able to be accepted into the kingdom.
Right.
That's just him. Now, I'm not going to say bank on that for everybody. We don't know
Yeah.
what
Don't
God
do
is
that.
going to do for any of us. And I'm sure there might be some ways of working by your deeds and believing in God because you know why? Why do I say that? There's going to be two scrolls pulled out. And one of those scrolls is going to see if your name is written on there for those who are in Christ. And there's another scroll. And it's like, well, what is that other scroll for? It's going to have names, but that's probably for the people who didn't receive it, but he might have grace on them or, died right before Christ came, like the people who were in BC times or the people who are inside nations who know about God, but they're not allowed to read any part of the Bible because they're inside of a dictatorship. We don't know. We honestly don't
Mm,
know. But God is gonna, He might weigh your heart, on a scale. And okay, well, you weren't given an opportunity, so here, I got you. All of us really don't know at the end of the day what God is going to do and how He's going to choose and how we're going to
Right.
be
Right.
written.
That part.
We
yeah.
don't know. We do not know.
We definitely don't know, but
But I
I
feel like both of
I
y'all
don't
is
care, y'all. Look, all I care about is whether or not Vaughn is gonna make it to heaven. Okay, if I see you there, hey boo. If not, okay, I'll probably be up there asking God if you can come come up.
help.
But I that's just how I look at it. And just keep in mind, audience, everybody, my view on it, because I've been offended in the past when people judged me and, oh, she don't know God, but truthfully, I think it was something I probably needed to hear, but I was so beside myself because, like I said, I knew God and I knew right from wrong, but I did what I wanted to do. And because I knew knowledge of the Bible, that's a direct disobedience to God when you are being an agent for the other side, knowingly, unbeknowingly. And I did not know that I was a whole agent out here. Okay. And I just don't want that for other people, you know. But I think, like sis said, if you know right from wrong, and God knows your heart, and He sees what you're doing, in light and in darkness, and He's the only person that can cast you off the hill or into heaven. So, and honestly, He doesn't even do that. We do that to ourselves because He don't want that for us. So, yeah,
Yeah. I'll just say, may we all choose relationship over religion.
Right.
Hmm.
that's a good one, Miss
Mic
Alice.
drop.
That's a good.
Dang. Relationship over religion, like a relationship with God versus just a religion of just going through the motions, and that I like
Yeah.
right there, like because people can, even demons know God. They know of Christ too. They're like, oh, I know who
Hmm.
you are. You came here to torment me. Isn't it a little bit too early? It's like, no, but I'm gonna just send you to the abyss. Even or
Yeah.
the fallen
That's
one. They
that's
know God.
why I say agent
Yeah. Oh,
real, because
I know.
when you know better, and you still just doing whatever,
Right.
you definitely under demonic influence and you are a
Mhm.
total agent for the other side.
and and
Right.
and, and that's and that's what I be and that's what I'm talking about at the end of the day. We know right from wrong. It's all free will, and we all know what the right thing to do and what the wrong thing to do. Now, some things, because the Bible do, you know, speak of certain things that we should be doing and shouldn't be doing. I just don't think God is going to hold that against you, if you're doing something and you don't even realize that you're doing it, right? Because at the end of the day, anything that
Right,
we
sis.
do could be anything we indulge in can be a sin. Anything, if whether it's over talking, eating, cursing, whatever.
Right.
We're the ones who put labels on what we feel like. We're the one who put the weights and the measures on what sin we feel like is worse than the other. But in God's eyes, is you're no different. If you talk too much, that is no difference in somebody going out there and unaliving somebody, because it's all sin. It's
Mm,
all sin in his eyesight. We're the ones who put the spotlight on it, and we're the ones who say, "Ooh, that's a bad sin," or "Ooh, oh, that's a worse sin." It's not our job to judge that. All we can do is just do what we know what's right. And like I said, that's why we have these five senses. He tell us what's right from wrong from the five senses. The word is in the, we are reading the word in the Bible of what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. And like real say, you can't just go out there and blatantly commit sin and expect it to make it to heaven. You just can't keep doing the same thing and think
no.
you're going to get a different result. Or Yvonne said it. I don't know which one of you guys said it, but I do know this much. I do know that I actually experienced God personally, and I really feel like God really do judge you on your heart, because He already knows sometimes our actions are not going to be pleasing in His eyesight. Nobody is perfect. People are going to make mistakes, and I don't care how good you try to be. You could be the best person on earth, and you still can sin in God's eyesight. So the only thing you can do is just, live your life to the best of your ability and just ask for forgiveness every night before you close your eyes.
Mm,
Right, right. We still are living on human experiences, and I'm a believer in other things, but I'm not going to go in there. But I believe some people are, you know, I won't say angels, but messengers, only because an angel is a messenger. Other
mm-hmm.
angels are even higher, but they're not called that. They're called Raphaim and Seraphim and Oraphim. So I think sometimes people are probably objected to their own ways by being inside this realm. Like that's just my own, you know, belief on certain things. Because they say, be careful who you entertain. You don't know who they are or what they are. And it's like people laugh these things off, but a lot of this stuff, you know, truth is stranger than fiction. So we just gotta realize this. And some people, I genuinely think they don't even know what they're doing. Like I think evil is overtaking some people with the demonic influence. They don't even know that they're doing bad. They're just going on doing things and just
I,
thinking that it's right. Like they just
I beg to differ on that though, real. I think some
okay.
people realize what they doing that they just don't want to change. Because like I said, anytime
Can't
you're
be that
doing something,
crazy.
most of the time when you're doing something you ain't supposed to, your body is telling you you're gonna get nervous and your stomach is gonna flutter, and like I said, your body is gonna tell you when you're not doing the right thing, or even just your mindset. Even if somebody have influenced you to do something, but something just don't seem quite right about it. That's
Mm,
that's your discernment right there. That's just letting you know, tagging at you and gnawing at you and pulling on you and letting you know you're not doing the right thing. But it's all about being in tune with yourself and listening to yourself and just really doing the right thing. And like I said, people, sometimes I feel like people know that they're doing wrong. They just like what they're doing and they continue to do it, whether it's right or wrong.
mm, okay. Okay.
Some people just don't believe. Period.
Miss
Mm.
Alice, we've been up here for 3 whole hours. You ain't ready
Because
to kick
it
us
was
out yet?
good. This was good, but we're gonna have to
No,
cut.
we're talking about the church, child.
Yeah. Oh
And y'all,
yeah.
I've
and
been I've been watching.
I'm almost persuaded to go back. So
Oh, good. Well,
Oh,
Miss
well, let's
Alice,
keep
wait. Can we
let's
have
keep talking.
15 more minutes, Miss Alice?
Let's
Because
keep
I've been
on
watching the
talking.
time nervous, child. I've been nervous like she's gonna put us out any second.
But this is to just real quick, y'all. It's right here. This all what we were doing, whether it's learning certain things and learning different aspects. This is still church right here because we're sharpening each other's irons. We're learning different perspectives. We're learning different things and opening our minds. And now it's like, guess what? Just like what I said, you could be more prone to, okay, now I want to pray. Now I'm going to go into the word. I feel good. My mind has been sparked into a thought process now. Now I'm going to go do this or do something good. It's just like this still here is church because if we're like minded and we're speaking on the good things in our different perspectives, but remember, it's all different ministries. But if we're trying to do good, it's all from God. We just got to refine those edges. You know what I mean?
Mm. Well,
Not everybody, but I said if you're trying, like willingly trying, but not you're
hmm
not taking the funk of, oh, I'm just doing this just because I want to be seen, or like that
hmm
I have an agenda to get this, or like it's like a pride thing, or I need the attention versus somebody who's
uh-huh.
genuinely doing it and don't care. Like, okay, here I do things out here, and I don't care about if anybody thanks me or if they give me any money or not. I just be like, okay, good. Like, how many times I do stuff like that? And me, that's
hmm
just being genuine. I'm just like, I don't care. Or like I've told people before, sometimes I motivate people. I'll turn off my super chat. I'll be like, I don't want anything. If you want to go donate to the, super chat or whatever the cash app, it's up to y'all. That's I do it all the time. But it's just like
hmm
that right there is just like if you feel led to, but I'm not going to charge you for the word. I'm not going to charge you to reveal you. But if you feel led to, that's what we should do.
all right.
If that makes sense.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to pass the test. That's all, and that's why I keep coming back over here. I like the way Alice
Oh, you,
have her input about the church and
yes,
how
you
all
just
you
doing
guys
a good
come on the
job.
panel and tell us about y'all experience of the church. Because, like you said, it do give us different perspectives, and it give us different, even people in the chat, give their perspective about church and their experiences or what have you. And so it just kind of make you feel like you're not alone. No, which map, which way, whichever road you're traveling down, it lets you know that you're not alone, and that you could be on the right track. Because like you say,
Mhm.
nobody has really been unalive, came back and told us how it really is.
Right, right.
Right.
That's-
And
Mhm.
all are welcome here as long as you are respectful in the chat on the panel. You are welcome here.
Otherwise, you can roll around in hot Cheetos with your eyes open. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
I disagree. More people have had dreams about heaven and hell than they have about anything else. Okay. So y'all can keep wanting to believe that ain't nobody came back and told us what's up. But that ain't true.
Well, you
Well,
know,
I've heard of that, Vaughn,
yeah.
and I'm not going to discredit anybody who says they have.
Right.
Um,
No,
I haven't. I, Alice, have not left, and I'm not back to tell you about how heaven or hell is because I haven't had that experience. I don't discredit anybody else's experience. I can't say somebody is lying when I don't know. So,
so you
Well,
don't
Miss
have to be
Alice,
gay to
wait,
experience that too.
hold on, real, hold on, real. So, Miss Alice, okay, well, see, I
mhm.
ain't gonna do that to you, but I'm gonna say this, okay? I woke up in hell once, y'all, okay? So, guess what? All right, I'm getting my stuff together because I don't want to go there.
I believe
No,
you. I believe
okay,
you. I
no.
believe you.
So,
If
Did
you're in a
y'all ain't
lower
got to believe
society,
us.
did you have
I
some
no,
I
hot?
don't.
Did you have some hot spicy food before you went to sleep that night?
Nope, sis. Okay, I was, holding, trying to take something to the grave, and the Lord showed me exactly what was gonna happen if I took it to the grave. Okay, so no, all right, heck no, it's not happening. It's not no, all right. So
I mean,
and I'm
we
not gonna
not
say
shown
it was
heaven,
all this.
according to.
I ain't gonna say it was all this fire and brimstone. I strongly believe I had that dream because like I said, I had said that I was going to take it to the grave, and I woke up in my grave, and it was not a good feeling at all. It was actually terrifying. It felt very real, and like I was actually there. And I just believe that um when we have those kinds of dreams, because some people have both kind of dreams. They go to both, like they say God actually, walks them through, both places, so yeah, I'm not saying that, y'all. I wasn't just down there and I saw all these different people. I saw myself. It wasn't even what I saw. I was there. Okay, I was in my own grave. And it's like, if that's what trying to um um keep something, you know, no, I don't want to do it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
Yeah.
if you didn't see a certain person down there, I question your dream.
You know what, Miss Alice? I'm not finna play with you.
I was gonna say, what
Oh,
was you doing to be so bad for God to even show you that type of dream?
Ah, sis, maybe one day I'll tell y'all in my testimony. But in the meantime, in between time, don't try to take nothing to your grave. Give it to God and confess. You
Was
shall be
it?
set free indeed.
But Bond, was it when you did a live and then you privated the live?
You know what, Miss Alice? No, it
Well,
wasn't.
to be on a serious note, though, maybe God do give that dream to some people. He just doesn't give it to all people, and
right, right. Mm.
I
maybe
agree.
some people have that ability to see that, and you may be one of the chosen ones that He want to see it, but he just didn't give that to everybody.
Right.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right, right.
Now, yeah,
So
because
your,
I don't. My
your truth
dream
is your
definitely
truth.
wasn't for. You know how some people dream and they say God told me come. No, that dream was for me and to let me know that if you keep at it, you gonna be in your grave. Okay, with this, and you want to be in your grave with this, and it's like, no, I do not. Absolutely not. I don't want to die and have this on me like that. No.
And so you just confirmed that I'm going to heaven because I ain't never
Bye,
had
sis.
that type of dream.
Bye, sis. I can't stand you.
No, it's true. There's different levels of heaven, and an angel could probably take you up to the first heaven. Like we don't know these things, but it does speak of that inside the scripture. It does, and it does speak of how Jesus did walk down to, we didn't say hell, but Tartarus, and spoke to some people that were down there. So who knows that if you're in certain I say positive or negative, like emotions, I believe that sleep is the cousin next to that dream world of unaliving. So when you're deep in there, just like it said inside the scriptures, when Jacob, when he slept next to that tree, he had all sorts of visions, and he was basically fighting with God, fighting with an angel of God. And it was so real to the point where he broke his hip and injured his leg. And then it's like, well, you stood long enough long with me, I'm gonna bless you. That to tell you like something like that is real. But it says he fell asleep at the place of penile. I'm like, you know what that sounds like, right? Your penile gland, where you sleep, where you dream at. So these things could, you just look into them and compare these things because God's always giving people vision, you know?
Yeah. That's why whether it honestly real, it don't matter. It well, no, that's not true. No. My any vivid dream that I have, I pay attention to the meaning of it, But have I had a lot of wake you up out your sleep? Yes, you know, but that one in particular was so real, y'all, that I was my husband said my eyes were open, but I was still asleep. So it's like, no. Okay. I people say, oh, it's like, no, I know that God will you know, help you out when you ain't about the right. He and but see, the Bible tells us not to detest his correction, like, and I struggle with that just a little bit because I feel like people be out here getting away with stuff, and they don't have no problem sleeping, no problems eating, and but my mother told me that those people, you don't want to be like that, because when God, corrects you or allows you to go through something and you get a little beat up, it's for your good. You know what I'm saying? So, and sometimes you do get away unscathed. And that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It just means that he loved you enough to allow you not to, be bruised up and beat up. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I just, I'm grateful for certain things happening because, when I read certain scriptures, it'd be like, yo, I know exactly what, I've experienced this, or wow, that's why that was happening. I'm grateful for it because it's like, he obviously loves me enough that he wanted me, to get hurt or bruised or bumped, so it's like, hey, this is why you don't do this, and you can tell your children or your friends or YouTube, this is why it's best not to, because this, that, and the third can
Or tap
happen,
you on your
you know.
shoulder because no shade to you, but maybe you were on such a bad track. He had to turn you around and correct you
Oh yeah.
so that you won't go to the wrong place. Because that could be a possibility that you were just doing something so vile to him or against
Mhm.
him that he just wasn't approving of you the way that the route that you were taking. And so maybe he
Right.
just wanted to give you an opportunity for correction, if I could put it that way.
Mhm.
Was this
Yeah.
before or after you had got baptized?
Oh, this was way before I got baptized.
Okay,
This was
so the
years
simple thing
ago.
of that is well, he showed you that, but if that's the realm that you're in, there's a bunch of people out here. I know people think like, oh, this ain't real and God isn't real. There's people who actively worship and have churches themselves for the church of you know who, and these people do those things. So like
Mhm.
unknowingly, if you had a strong like power of whatever you had on whatever side you could be on, if that's what you were operating out of, that's what you're going to see. Like you had a strong connection to that force. Like that just is what it is. So that's probably what happens too, like, and sometimes the
Yeah.
angel will show you danger and people will, oh, I rebuke that dream. Or because like a demon will show you delusions of grandeur and feel good, right? But then the angel might
Yeah.
show you something of harm to show you something that can save you. Just like, oh, I don't want to live, I don't want to do this. How do you know an angel's not going to take you inside your spirit form and show you what it feel like to get, hit by a train or to get shot? And it's doing that. You're like, oh, that felt so real. I don't want to do that to myself. An angel could have showed you.
Yeah, it's like because like I said, I had my mind pretty made up. Like, yeah, whatever. Honestly, y'all, I went into it with the idea that it's not that big of a deal. And once again, knowing better, okay, and doing wrong, okay, gonna cost you every time. Okay. So because I am stubborn enough, to be like, it's not that big of a deal. God had to be like, look, young lady, okay, I know you better than you know you, and this is not, what I want for you, and I know you're gonna keep at it, but let me just give you a quick glimpse, okay, of what's gonna happen. Okay. So it's like, yeah, I do believe that he does send dreams, people, places, things, for you to get right, especially when you know right from wrong, because some of us do know right from wrong, but we think we're exempt from being held accountable. And real, I wanted to be exempt from being held accountable, like I saw other people being exempt from being held accountable, right? And it's like, I say it's a curse because I get angry when others people do things to me and they can get away with it. And it's like I try to get on their level, you know, and that's not what the man upstairs wants from me. It's
It's
like,
not because you're getting away with. Remember that. So that
what's
people.
this? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna give you the scripture. Hold on. It's in Galatians, y'all. Okay, y'all know I like Galatians, but listen, it says, "Do not fall weary in doing good, for there is a reward." Now, I'm gonna be a little transparent here, even though Miss Alice is probably ready for us to go. Okay, it says, and this is Galatians chapter 5, verse no, chapter 6, verse 9, and not, let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. I got so, you know, wrapped up, in I'm tired and this is always happening. And, if I was to, and if I, and if I, and if I forgot about all the times. And that's why I really like that. Miss Alice, remember when I told you, what am I going to listen to Shirley Caesar for? She be making me cry. Remember I told you that? That's why I really like the
Yeah.
song Shirley Caesar. It goes, I won't go back. No, um, dang, I can't get the melody, but the beginning of the song, she talks about this girl, who going through all this stuff, and then, she go to God and she say, before I backslide, I got to remember all the times God did this and God did that. Before I backslide, you know. And I like that song because sometimes I think if I was grounded in something spiritually, which would have been God, before I made, certain decisions, I would have been able to account, because I can honestly say, y'all, I forgot all the times I had been done wrong and God showed up in my favor. I grew weary in doing good, okay? Because it's like, I'm never getting anything out of this. But that wasn't true. I let the devil get to me and make me feel like, you know, what I'm saying? I let him I let him get to me, y'all.
You're right, and
And
sometimes you might not get nothing here right now. Sometimes for some people, there's not everybody. Your gift is promised in the next realm, like in the next phase of the next dimension, and that's what it tells some of us to look forward to. Like you might not have everything, but guess what? Store up your treasures in heaven, and it's like, okay, your
right.
mansion is bigger than everybody else's. But it's hard to fathom that thought when we have not even experienced that, and we're living in these 3D meat suits. It's just like it's just.
No, but what I'm saying is
No,
real.
she's saying
I
that she let him convince her that he was the right
Yes.
way.
Yeah,
His way was the
yeah.
right way instead of God's way. So
I feel
I
you.
get what
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, sis. I get
Because
what you're
nothing is
Yeah.
happening to you, but he'll let you.
Mhm.
He'll let some
I
people
was
get
going
that comfortable. Yeah,
I'll say, I'll put it to you like this, real. I feel like I went through a season where where my faithfulness was tested, right? And I failed miserably because instead of doing what I was being told to do, which was pray, okay, stop being so ungrateful and negative thinking, speaking negativity over myself, being like y'all, I was the worst person in the world. I'm not lying, okay? But it's like that's why I love when that song comes on, y'all. I be singing it because I know it's like if I ever get to a place like that again, which I feel like I recently have, the devil tried me again, and I said no. Okay, God brought me out of this, that, and the third. I could have been dead. My children could be here without their mom. My husband could have divorced me. All type, whatever. Okay, whatever it was. My friends, my mother, probably shouldn't even be speaking to me. Whatever. It's like before I go back, I'm gonna think about everything He's brought me through, everything He's kept me from, everything He snatched me out of that I wanted to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm grateful for that experience. But that song is hold on, babe. That song and this scripture is why, the next big test, okay, I'm gonna pass, baby. Okay, I'm gonna pass because I'm gonna remember all the things He brought me through. Okay. And I didn't came too far to turn back now. Absolutely not.
I hear you, and if I were you, I like hearing that kind of stuff. And then when you say that, I advise a lot of y'all, and I know some people like, oh no, you're just trying to get somebody to hide their stuff. No, if you're built on a certain level where you're uh, a teeter totter, walk in your faith sometimes by yourself. Like you could discuss it with people, but sometimes it could be a double-edged sword when you let people know, oh, I'm walking on this path with God and I'm doing this thing. Sometimes just do it because there are going to be people who out of jealousy or the spirits in them, they're going to do their best to shoot darts and arrows at you. Like it's just going to happen. And it's their job to try to stumble you. And it says that inside the word, there's people out there who their day will not be happy unless they cause somebody to stumble or to fall off their path because they are trying to follow God. And sometimes you just got to just, I won't say do it in silence, but when you profess these things, people are going to come left and right, left and right. And it's like, okay, oh, so you think you're that bad? I'm going to test you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this about you. I'm going to be a troll. I'm going to purposely say these words to try to bait you. This is what these people do. So if you know that it's a little hard inside that area until you refine yourself in a super strong way, talk about it, but just be about it more because these people out here, they don't want to see you win. They just don't. They want to pull you down with them. It irks them. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come at you extra
Yeah.
harder. That's what they do. I'm positive of this. I'm 100% on this. That's what they do. And their spirits are irked by it. So it's like they hear these things and it's like a ding, 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 dinner time. Oh, let's try to mess with this one. We need to piss this person off. We need our food. We need our loosh. We need you to come down because we need to eat. Please feed us. Like that's how they are. So it's like if they can bring you back down, it's like, oh, we hear you. You're sending out this signal. We need to pull you back here. That's what they do. So just be careful. But still profess the Lord. But when you go on a walk, sometimes just be in your room, be inside your closet and do that walk with yourself to the point where you're so high up that now when you do talk about it and mention it, nothing's gonna be able to stop you. Like at that point, it's just like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. Please. That's child's play.
Got you, real. I got you.
Well, okay, y'all. I'm going to play something real quick and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So, are there any last words before we get off of this live?
Nope. Thank all of y'all. I see you, Shanice. I see you, Time. I see your Brills. I appreciate all y'all. Everybody up here. I see you, Glojo. All y'all made some great comments down there. I just didn't want to interrupt the flow of things while we were talking. I love y'all too, and I appreciate everything that each one of y'all has brought to this table in the chat. All of you. I see all y'all and everybody up here. So appreciate it and thank you.
Thanks, Real.
Well, I just want to say it was great conversation today about church, and y'all kind of touched my heart a little bit about it. And like I said, I might, just might try to find one to go to. So I'm gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
Right now.
It feels good, doing the Lord's work. No, I'm playing. But I just love being a little disciple. I said, we gotta stop saying that doing the Lord's work, because can't none of us really do His work. But we can totally do disciple work out here, and yeah, yeah, Miss Alice, we've been up here a long time, girl. Like
I know.
this 3 hours. This is woo.
I
Ain't
know.
this
Wow.
the longest? Is this the
It was a
longest?
good conversation, though.
It really
Right.
was, and plus she didn't go that long Monday, so it was it was a
You know
holiday.
what?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying
Yeah,
she didn't go that
family and
long
everything.
Monday. So we have to make up for Monday's time. I'm just saying.
Right, 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 right.
I got a feeling Miss Alice gonna be up here a lot longer, now. But uh,
We
but
got to hog up all the airtime. Stop,
but
stop it,
look,
real.
uh,
Thrive and Glow with Joe is having a premiere at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Central Time. So y'all make sure you go over there and support her. And
Oh, okay. It's 7 o'clock our time.
Definitely.
I
Central.
believe
yeah,
so. I believe so. Let me make sure. I want to be giving out wrong information.
yeah. I like Joe's her Joe. I have one request. Okay, I'm gonna tell you in the chat. Okay, when we get over to the chat. Okay, you know,
It's
I
Thriving
I
Glow
have
with
one request,
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
It's
one
Thriving
little
Glow with
request.
Joe. Not waiting to exhale.
You know what? Fine. Then I'm not gonna say anything. But because everybody swear I just be trying to control everybody. But
Mm.
I just gotta say
Why
one
would people
thing.
say
Okay.
that? Why would
Miss
anybody say
Alice,
that?
all I'm gonna say is I feel okay. My suggestions, help. Okay, but does that mean I'm in control of everything? No, I just think
Yes.
y'all need, a young mind around here. No shade to anybody. Okay, but I feel y'all need, a young mind. Okay, that has good ears, wonderful eyesight. Okay, that can help y'all see and hear what I see and hear. But y'all don't like to listen to young people. So, whatever. Okay. Whatever. Y'all want to give all the advice and the wise counsel, and I can't say nothing. It's controlling when I do it, but I actually listen to y'all. It's not controlling when y'all do it, but whatever. Okay.
Well,
I listen to
Vaughn,
anybody, young or old, but I know what you mean. I get
yeah, I
it.
think we can all learn from each other, Vaughn, really.
And I even
Ah,
told the
okay.
people I be learning from you, so I don't know where you getting that from.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
just in
okay.
her
Okay.
fifis.
Yeah, of
She's
course
in her
yeah, I'm just
fifis
in my
right
feelings.
now. Yeah.
I love y'all.
So
Matter of factly,
I
I like learning from younger people because
I do too.
yeah, it help you stay on top of your game.
Uh-huh. I agree.
Exactly. All right. I love
So
you,
I
Miss
did
Alice.
drop. I love you more. I dropped Joe's link. So if anybody, I can't imagine that anybody in this chat would be subscribed to her. But if you're not and you would like to check it out, please click that link
And
and
it's seven
subscribe to the
o'clock,
channel.
Alice. Is it 7 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
Alice? Okay.
In 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So again, happy birthday, Senna. You're welcome, Joe. And I want to thank everybody who showed up for the live, those who were in the bushes, those who are in the chat, and thank you to everybody who may be watching the replay. I hope that you get something out of this live. So let me go through the roll to see who was here. So who that? Joshua, Larry King, Shadow, Wanda, Get It Together, Wellness, a brother of a certain age, Too Strong, Nesto, Shackle Shuffle, Walk of Shame, Gertrude's Van Life, Key, El Cid, Scorpio Mama, Time, Truth is Be Bragging, aka Nisi, Truthy, Cherokee, SBK, Joe, Thrive and Glow with Joe, Selena, So Blessed, and my moderators, Shanice, Charlie's Angel, Abril, Shay, I Said What I Said, Real, Vaughn, Senna, and I believe that's it. And then everybody who was on the panel, even Wanda, who showed up on the panel to sing happy birthday. Courage. That takes a lot of courage, y'all. And um I said what I said, real Vaughn. Yeah, those are the people who were on the panel. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining the live. And again, I hope that you got something out of it. And remember that God loves you even more than I do. And I really do love you all. Continue to be blessed. And I look forward to seeing you all on Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, happy birthday again, Senna. So after this, the live will be over. All right. Y'all take care. And if you have the issue of procrastinating, I pray that you work on it just as I'm doing myself. All right. Love y'all.